The real season starts tonight in Polk County. It's a 5A District 8 showdown between crosstown rivals Lake, Gibson, and Lakeland. And you'll see it next on Catch 47's Game of the Week. Welcome to Bryant Stadium, home to the #1 team in the nation, the Lakeland Dreadnaughts. Tonight, the Knots put that ranking on the line against their crosstown and now district rival, the Braves of Lake Gibson. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Keaton. Welcome back to the Catch 47 High School Football Game of the Week. And what a contest we have for you tonight. Lake Gibson and Lakeland. These two teams have not played a regular season battle against each other since 1998. If you remember last year, in fact, the past 2 years, they have played against each other, but it was preseason style. Lamar Thomas, my broadcast partner, so many things we can talk about for this game. Nerves, we talked to both coaches. Penalties, we talked to both coaches. Taking a leg up in the district, but also opportunity knocking tonight for Lake Gibson. Their coach talked about that. Also an opportunity for Coach Castle and the Dreadnaughts to really put up that #1 ranking against the best team they faced all year.
Well, you think about it. Lake Gibson has an opportunity to do everything to prove everybody wrong. No one thinks they can win this ball game. And you know what? This is an opportunity for these kids to come out and play their best and maybe be able to send this tape off to a college or two. But on the other hand, Lakeland, all they have to do is go out and dominate tonight, and everyone in this whole area, in this state, in the country will also hear that the Dreadnaughts are here to stay.
Let's talk about Coach DeMeyer's team. Remember last year, in the past couple years, they were in Class 4A. They lost the state championship a couple of times to Armwood. They are now in 5A District 8 alongside the Lakeland Dreadnaughts. They started out 0-2 in LT. They only lost those games by a combined score of 3 points. Now they have the running game going with the last 2 victories, and all you have to do is just give the ball to Isaac Harris, and he is running wild.
You know what? He has to be the horse for them tonight. And you know, a year ago, Eric, my first football game, my partner with you, I saw this kid and I said, this kid reminds me of Barry Sanders. And you know what? For them to be successful tonight, for Lake Gibson to win this ball game, they need a Barry Sanders type performance from him tonight.
It's a very young defense for the Lake Gibson Braves, but most of their seniors are located in the linebacking core, and a very good one is Cameron McAlpin.
Yeah, you know, he's been slowed by ACL injury last year, but this kid is strong, aggressive. He's everything. And if for them to be successful, you know, you talk about these two players, for them to be successful, he has to run down some players from the behind and make a lot of tackles tonight.
Bill Castle and the Lakeland Dreadnaughts come in tonight with a 5-0 record, the mid-season point, the last night of September, and they are definitely playing their toughest competition against the Lake Gibson Braves. The USA Today says this is the #1 team in the nation. However, offensively, they just haven't been able to get it going. That running machine hasn't been able to churn up the yards like last year. But Jamar Taylor, we call him Mini Bo. If there's a guy who can get it going, it's the man on your television set right now.
You look at those numbers, Eric. 406 yards, 10 touchdowns this year. All the talk is about Chris Rainey, but this kid has really come out this year and has been the one to grind them out and get them all the tough yards they need. And for them to win this ball game tonight, he has to get it done. And, you know, if he opens it up for Chris Rainey, we could see a two-headed monster tonight.
When you talk to Coach Castle, he'll talk about last year and how they won the state championship. They were injury-free. They've been battered and bruised all season long, but somehow the defense has managed to only give up 27 points, and they've done it with holding out guys like Edgar Lewis. He didn't even play last week, but he's one of the toughest guys coming off the edge.
You know what? The kid didn't play last week, but you look at those numbers. I mean, those are astronomical numbers. And you know what? Coach Castle said he's not 100%, but I'm sure Coach Castle would take this kid at 90, 80%, whatever he is, because you know what? He will be a man amongst boys tonight.
It's going to get loud. It's going to get even louder once kickoff starts. It's Lake Gibson and the Lakeland Dreadnaughts, the #1 team in the nation, put it all on the line tonight against the Braves.
Catch.
High school football game of the week here at Bryant Stadium. It's a big one. 5A District 8 showdown. Winner will definitely have the lead in the district. The Braves, Dreadnaughts, crosstown rivals. Before we get into it any further, Mark Detrick has your team captains in the coin toss.
Been designated that, you have to let the rest of the team know. It's a 15-yard penalty the first time, it's a 15-yard penalty the second time, and you can't play. So it's very, very important. There's another thing that I've noticed that I've seen some guys with the yellow arm things on. If you'll just make sure that when you go back that nobody's wearing them. I guess it's a Lance Armstrong thing or whatever, okay? Okay, you're the visitors, you're gonna call the toss. You want a heads? Okay, I'm gonna do it. And there is a heads on this side, a tails on the other. If I drop it, we'll do it again. You agree it's a heads? Okay. It is a heads. You've won the toss.
You want the ball.
You want the ball. Which goal you want defender, which way you want to kick it? Kick that way. You want to kick that way? Orange, if you'll face the clock. White, stand over there and face me, please.
Lake Gibson wins the toss. LT, they want the football. Number 1 team in the nation in orange and black. The officials tonight with Mark Detrick, Udonis Jarrett, Mahon, and Galen, they really have a tough job, LT, because discipline and penalties are going to play a huge part, especially when these teams are located just mere miles apart.
Yeah, well, you know, Eric, one of the things about it, I saw as we were down there on the field before the game, the kids were going back and forth with me. This is a big game for both of these schools, primarily district, primarily the fact that also they're close together, and the fact that Lake Gibson has a chance to take something from Lakeland, that #1 ranking in the nation.
They have the bragging rights right now as Lake Gibson takes the field, but that was preseason. And Coach DeMeyer told us he thought about having his team come over just before the preliminaries, but he said, you know what? I want him to enjoy the moment. And LT, you don't get very many moments in your high school career when you are challenged to play the #1 team in the nation. I know that's an opportunity you had when you played up in Gainesville.
That's right, 1988. It's so long ago. We had an opportunity to play Pensacola Pine Forest, #1 team in the nation. They went on to win the state championship. Of course, they beat us. You know, for Lake Gibson, I remember being in that locker room across the field from that team and saying, you know what? We're going to have to go out and play football and not worry about who they are, just worry about how they line up in front of us and how we can beat them.
Well, both of these teams, because they are located so close to each other, should know who each other are.
Right.
For you, it's Gainesville and Pensacola.
Yeah, well, we didn't know who they were. All we
Yeah.
knew they were #1 in the nation, and I'm sure, you know, you got to get it. Once you get out there on that football field, we couldn't stop them the first couple series, but once we settled in, we realized, hey, they put their pants on the same way we put our pants on, and it came down to it. They beat us by 8 points, but it was an experience, and then, you know what? Like I said earlier, this is a tape that all the college scouts want to see. The #1 team in the nation, how well you do against this team.
Lake Gibson, you can hear that band roaring. They're trying to give their team somewhat of a hometown field. The coaching matchup tonight, you know Bill Castle and what he's done. He's trying to win back-to-back state championships for the first time in school history. On the left, Keith DeMeyer's been to back-to-back state championships, and he said he's tired of seeing Sun Sports play that championship game against Armwood over and over. But he'd love to see this one played over and over if his team pulls off the upset.
And you know what? If they are able to pull off this upset, he will not have to worry about this game being on. It will be on every station. They'll probably buy this from us and put it on.
Chris DeVault and Kavian Robinson, dangerous return men back for the Lake Gibson Braves. Number 15, Chris DeVault, one of the super seniors we talked about at the beginning of the season. Ready to kick it off is Justin Burdett. And this 5A District 8 showdown is underway. DeVault will come up and take it at about the 11-yard line. Straight up the middle. And he'll get taken down at around the 29. So that's where the Lake Gibson offense will start out. John Tremblay is the quarterback. Sounds weird saying that because for so many years when you talked about Lake Gibson and their offense, it was Matt Grothy coming out of the huddle. Tremblay actually taking over the starting role for the first time in a couple of games. They will put in Raymond Martin, the fullback, as well. But the first call is to Harris. Harris gets to the outside, and he's taken down after a 4-yard gain. Now, Lake Gibson in that offense, they are pretty young. Only 3 seniors are getting the start, one being Martin and Isaac Harris, the other senior being the right guard, Jamel Bell. Everybody else, LT, are juniors except for Jamison Lee, the left guard. There you see the skill position players. The receivers, all new names. Gone, Roger Frazier. He's leading JUCO right now in receiving yards in his first season playing college ball. Tremblay's going to put it in the air. Rush is on. He gets rid of it, and it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It's an incomplete pass as Nick Moody got a piece of it up front. The Lakeland defense, they're battered and bruised for Coach Castle. Up front, they do have some changes with Nick Moody getting a start for Jordan Hammond. John Brown, Connors Johnson is playing up front for Cedric Edom, and Edgar Lewis getting a start. The linebacking core there just so talented. Johnson, Bryant, Coleman, so is the secondary with Walker, Parker Wilkes, and Ahmad Black. 3rd down and call it 6 for Lake Gibson. They'll keep it on the ground, and Harris loses his footing and gets about a yard, and that's it. Lake Gibson will have a quick 3 and out.
Lakeland might be fortunate he lost his footing on that because he was going through that whole full speed. You know, like I said, this kid is a Barry Sanders type back at a high school level. I mean, we saw him a year ago. I mean, against Haines City, he had 257 yards rushing. You have to be a good back to get that many yards rushing in a football game.
Chris Rainey, and now a botched punt and a drop kick basically by Lake Gibson. And I believe Lakeland touched it at midfield, and Lake Gibson is going to come up with it. But flags are in the backfield.
How about
the Braves had the football, but what a smart play by the punter, Sean Hines.
I think it's going to be an illegal kick. Right, you'll see right here that kick was a illegal kick. Ball was hit the ground, he kicked it, but Lakeland was very fortunate on that play for that to happen because that was a not so smart play by one of the guys in the secondary back there.
So after the penalty due to an illegal kick, you can do it in the Arena Football League, but you can't do it in high school football.
Smart play though, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, because
if not,
they get the ball right there, so now they at least get another chance to punt it away, and they just have a 5-yard penalty.
So the crazy thing about it, you got another chance to punt to the great Chris Rainey.
Rainey averaging more than 18 yards a punt return. Better snap, and it was nearly blocked. I don't know how. Steve Wilkes did not get in there, and it's a short punt. Wilkes got in there so quick. How he missed the football is unknown to me. But Rainey doesn't return it, and Lakeland will have the football to start at their own 36-yard line.
Man, I just don't see how he missed this punt here. How he missed blocking this. It almost looks like he missed it. It hit off him. That would have been a big play for Lakeland to start this game off. Two
big plays for Lakeland. So Billy Lowe, who last week was 10 of 12, comes out and immediately pitches it back to Rainey. Rainey taken down after a 2-yard gain. A nice defensive play out there by middle linebacker John Williams. Billy Lowe, the quarterback, and his numbers on the season. Only 3 touchdown passes, but only 1 mistake. The offense for Coach Castle, LT, just really hasn't gotten gear. We'll show you the numbers for Rainey and even Taylor. Taylor's numbers are a lot better than they were last year, but Rainey really falling behind the 8 ball, so to speak. Wilson's been banged up. Matt Greer, the wide receiver. Jordan Hammond is not in at tight end. David Lazon will play, but he's a wide receiver. Up front, they're still young. They're all juniors. Rainey again gets the call, and he is spread out and dumped at around the 37-yard line. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. A very aggressive Lake Gibson defense with Claude Davis getting out there along with Donnell Moore.
We talked about in the opener how aggressive this defense was. I mean, they're making plays left and right so far in this game. I mean, to be able to stop this kid, Chris Rainey, is a feat in itself.
The Lake Gibson defense, they are young, only 4 seniors. A young defensive line with James Jones, Stewart, Rashid, and Davis. The senior linebacking core, they're the best. Moore, Williams, McAlpin. And the secondary. A first down completion as throwing on the run is low. He completes it out there to Greer, and Greer just gets past the sticks. So on a 3rd down and long, that front 4, that young front 4, for Coach DeMeyer could not get to the quarterback because they're moving him around, LT.
Yeah, they're moving the quarterback around. And the thing I like, Greer does a great job of coming back to the football and catching it with his hands. He went down past the first down marker, and that's always a good thing for a receiver to do. You always want to go down past that marker, so just in case you have to come back, you'll still have the first down.
Lake Gibson on the season allowing 184 yards on the ground and only 53 through the air, 238 yards a game. So the LG allowing the first down of the ball game, and Taylor gets wrapped up near the line of scrimmage. Somebody got him high, somebody got him low, but he does pick up a couple of yards.
Lake Gibson right now looks not to be intimidated by this Lakeland ball club. You know, they stopped Jamar Taylor on that play. They stopped Chris Rainey. I mean, if not for a good route and a good throw and catch, they'd be punting the ball right now.
We'll give him a gain of 2. It'll be a 2nd down and 8. Just underway here in the first quarter. 7:43 remaining in the first quarter. And the ball right at midfield. Lake Gibson had a 3-and-out, had some special teams problems, was able to overcome it. And this drive starting from the 36-yard line. Taylor gets a swing pass, and he goes down. A little bit of defense would have got to him anyway, and he's dumped behind the original line of scrimmage by about a yard.
Try to get Taylor the ball in space out there, let the athlete do his job. Good design play right here. They actually had the hook block. Greer had the hook block there, but Taylor slipped down. You know, Eric, on the play before that, Demetrius Wilson went hobbling out the game, so that might be a little something that we might need to watch. The offensive lineman going down, putting in someone new.
Right tackle is out. He's getting attended to. Big number 76 in the ball game for him. Back on a 3rd down and long. They go to Wilson. Wilson gets knocked out of bounds at around the 42-yard line. That's very close to the sticks. This might be real close for a measurement. It depends on where he was knocked out of bounds. If anything, it's going to bring up a 4th down and short.
Paul Wilson, the magic man. This kid runs extremely good routes. He slowed a little bit this year. Hadn't had the numbers that I expected this kid to have, but, you know, he had an ankle sprain out practicing on an off day. He and Chris Rainey and the rest of the offensive guys just trying to get themselves together. He twisted his ankle. He's been a little slow, but he is one of the top receivers that I've seen. He catches the ball well. He blocks downfield. He does it all.
Nick Parsons is in for Wilson. And they are by the nose of the football. You see it right there, how much they are short. Decision time here early. And this is something that Coach DeMeyer talked about. His defense, young up front, they've been on the field a long time. Not really giving up big plays, but they've allowed the offense to eat up the clock, and it's been wearing them down.
Yeah, when you have a young front like this, the only way they're going to get experience is by playing. And you know what? When you play against the #1 team in the nation, this would go a long way in their minds and their memory banks. They can get a good stop here. It'll help this defensive front. Wilson, they might be young, but this would be the play right here.
Wilson checks back in at right tackle. Nick Parsons runs off the field. Single setback will be Jamar Taylor. Can you guess who will get the football? It's either going to be a quarterback keeper or they will give it to Minnie Bowe as Rainey lines up on the wing on the far side, making it a strong side. They'll just keep it with a quarterback keeper, and he picks up the first down and more. Down to the 36-yard line. Move the chains for the #1 team in the nation.
That old quarterback sneak, always hated by wide receivers, but, you know, he does a good job here of finding a gap and exploding through the gap. That's all the quarterback sneak is. It's not about running behind the center. It's finding that gap.
And McAlpin found the quarterback. If it wasn't for his tackle, Lowe may be celebrating an end zone, in the end zone. Numbers last year from Billy Lowe, he's exceeded that already. Rainey makes a cut in the backfield, gets into open space. Rainey may be gone. Touchdown, Dreadnaughts. A 35-yard touchdown run, and that cut was unbelievable.
I just want to see the replay. That's all I want to see. I mean, I'm going to be a fan here. Watch this. Watch the cut right here. Oh! There is a broken ankle out somewhere on the field. A jock strap laying on the ground somewhere out there.
Well, that was sophomore Kavian Robinson, and he just learned what Chris Rainey can do. Extra point attempt. Makes it a 7-0 ball game. A drive that started on their own 36 ends up with a big play by number 3. The Rain man just counted 35 yards. It looked like he was going to stop himself in the backfield right there, but incredible balance to keep it going.
And watch the footwork here. I mean, he did, his feet went one way, his head went the other way, and here it is, a great touchdown by this kid. There, look at that move. Look at that move. I mean, like I said, Eric, there is a broken ankle or a jock strap laying out there on the field somewhere.
8 plays and 64 yards and 4 minutes time of possession. And that's pretty good against a Lake Gibson defense.
Well, you think about it, Lake Gibson played pretty soundly on defense. That drive is just for that one play. Chris Rainey, I mean, that was an unbelievable play.
And they'll probably look back, LT, at 2 third-down and long situations where they didn't stop, and at least the second third down and long set up the 4th down and short.
Correct.
Where Lowe picked it up. So they weren't able to stop him on 3rd down and long, and you'd want your defense to be in that scenario. To the far side of the field. This is number 8. Powell. Powell gets loose. Powell may tie it up. He's got to beat Paul Wilson. Powell, touchdown, Lake Gibson. A 90-yard kickoff return, and the Braves sideline is going crazy.
Eric, I think we have a ball game here. We talk about big momentum. Big Mo every week, Eric. Big Mo was on Lakeland's side, but then all of a sudden Big Mo decided he was going to run over to Lake Gibson's side. And you watch this return right here. Paul Wilson slowed by ankle injury. He gives it his all. The Magic Man's trying to chase him down, but he can't catch him. Touchdown, Lake Gibson. We have a ball game.
The extra point to tie up this ball game. Gets through the uprights. 7-7. You wanted excitement. Bilal Powell, the junior, has just tied up this ball game.
Watch the special teams play here by Lake Gibson. Watch the wall by all the big guys up front. He explodes through the hole right here, and there's one guy to beat. I mean, you got to give it to Paul Wilson. He tried his best, but you know what? He could not catch this kid. He starts to pull away, and, you know, great effort there at the end, but touchdown.
Remember in the preseason game, we saw Wilson catch up to the Hillsborough Terriers and actually knock the ball free. So you can tell that ankle injury is hurting him a little bit, but also give it up to the effort of Powell. He did not get anything fancy with the football. He knew, important game, I got to get into the end zone.
But you know one thing he did get? He got some excellent blocks from those guys up front. When they came back to set up that wall, it was there. All they did was hit their guys, give him a crease to run through. He exploded through the hole, and oh my goodness, how the momentum has changed. Lakeland's sideline went from cheering to deflation.
They went from talking about the Chris Rainey touchdown on the sidelines, and then it started to be pats on the back and look at the field. And they heard the other sideline starting to get loud.
It's nothing more deflating, Eric, than a kickoff return for a touchdown. You know, it's just one of those things when you're just coming off a fact that you just scored a touchdown or you put some points on the board, you kick the ball off, and all of a sudden you give up points. That's it can deflate you.
And it's the first points that Lakeland has given up in the first quarter all season long. LT, you ever return kicks?
Yeah, I returned a couple kicks here and there, but, you know, one thing I got to say, when I got to college, I figured those guys were running down a little too fast.
He never had blocking like Powell did on that play, probably.
He had all the blocking.
Taken by the up man, Ahmad Black. Black trying to get to the outside. Gets it out to the 31-yard line. It's a nifty return. He took his own route trying to find blockers. And so Lakeland's offense gets back out on the field. The defense thought they were going to get out there and keep that shutout going. But special teams, we've seen two big special teams plays thus far. And Lake Gibson pretty fortunate on the first one. And then they get the big kickoff return. So Lowe comes back out for Lakeland.
Eric, you know, in order for them to win this ball game, they're going to need some plays like that. They're going to need some big plays, they need some smart plays on offense and defense. No dumb penalties, no turnovers, and big plays on special teams.
Send Greer in motion. They give it to Rainey. Rainey bottled up, banged up. Gets back to the line of scrimmage.
They had that play read all the way. That's the way to stop Chris Rainey. You stop him in the backfield.
Look, 5:41, even though it's the last Friday of September, the last day of September, we have the water break. I believe once we move into next week's ball game, the water break will officially end. As next week we move from Polk County to Pasco County. The Mitchell Mustangs will be making their debut on the game of the week against the Hudson Cobras. The Hudson Cobras were on last year and made quite a debut in that big game against the Springstead Eagles. Both teams having pretty good seasons this year as we shift the game of the week, Friday night football, to Pasco County. And we were there last week when we had the dual games of the week, as we had the big game in Raymond James Stadium and Pasco and Land O'Lakes. Both games were outstanding. This is the second time that Lakeland has been on this year, and they could be on a third time at the end of the season, because right now the Kathleen Red Devils are being considered the other team in Polk County. They're sending me emails and saying, Eric, Keaton, when are we going to get on? We're undefeated right now. We beat Lake Gibson.
Hey, I'm so glad they don't have my email address.
Because that's a game we had last year. It was an outstanding contest, and it will be held here. Here goes Rainey again. Rainey to the outside. Rainey breaks the tackle and gets pushed out of bounds and thrown out of bounds, but no flag comes out at around the 47, but you can hear the boos.
No flag there, but that definitely should have been a flag there. You see where Chris Rainey, man, he just explodes once he touches the football. Some good blocking. They sealed off the left side, and watch him as he runs. It almost looks as though he's gliding as he's running the football.
16 yards on that carry for Chris Rainey. His best game this year has been against Miami Norland. He had 9 carries for 109 yards. He's already has a 35-yarder and a 16-yarder, so he's more than halfway there to his best game of the season. Here's Jamar Taylor. Mini Bo breaking tackles. He's in the secondary. He's still on his feet. Watch number 25 rumble to the 32-yard line.
I tell you what, I would love to be in Coach Castle's shoes right now. I mean, you got a Chris Rainey and a Jamar Taylor. This kid has balance. This kid is a complete package. You see he has power. Chris Rainey has more speed. This kid has power, has balance, everything. I mean, look at the power there, Eric. He just would not go down.
Robinson was the one that was tweaked out by Chris Rainey. There he actually gets a hold of Taylor and finds out the strength of number 25 and can't bring him down. He's thinking, man, this is my big sophomore moment, and I'm meeting up with these super juniors. A 15-yard run, now a 19-yard run. Lowe's going to put it in the air. He's looking toward the end zone. Wilson's out there. Does he have him? Can't hold on to it in the back of the end zone.
Good try by the Magic Man.
That ball hung up there a little too long. Looked like it may have been exactly where Wilson wanted it, at the back of the end zone.
See, right, it's hard to tell back here with these Tennessee-type end zones back here. There's still an extra maybe 2 or 3, and maybe 2 yards. I mean, it's hard to tell. But you know what? As a receiver, I'm going to tell you something, Eric. When you're running into an end zone, you always think about that goal post and the gate. I mean, it's human nature. It's like being an outfielder playing baseball. You think about that wall.
From the 33-yard line, tried for the big home run. They'll run the option here, and Rainey lost the football, and he'll fall on it back at the 41-yard line. So a loss of 8 on the play is going to bring up a 3rd down and long. That time, Lowe felt the pressure coming up the middle, and he had to unload it.
Well, that's what you want to do. You know, if I'm Lake Gibson, I wouldn't mind Lowe running the ball. I'm going to have somebody on that guy, Chris Rainey and Jamar Taylor. I'm not going to worry. I don't think Lowe is going to be able to beat me consistently.
Claude Davis got in the quarterback's face and made him pitch it to Chris Rainey, and Lowe pitched it before he was actually ready. So that young defensive line, Coach Meyer said they need to come up big tonight. Here on a 3rd down and 18, they really need to come up big, and Lakeland's wanting to call a timeout.
You know, Eric, not taking anything from the quarterback, Lowe, but, you know, if I'm going to pick and choose which guy I want to pick up 3 and 4 yards, I'm going to choose Lowe, because Chris Rainey, Jamar Taylor, these guys are threat to take it all the way as we've seen so far tonight.
4:25, the timeout is called by Lakeland. Our game is tied at 7. Of course, the other team in town that everybody's talking about nationally is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're undefeated as well, and you can watch them in their recap show right here on Catch 47 with my broadcast partner, Lamar Thomas, Mark Robinson, and the Q.
The Q man, Shelton Quarles. We're the only show in the Tampa Bay area that is an hour devoted to the Buccaneers. And we usually have a special guest. We had Chris Hoban. We had, who else have we had, Scott? We've had a lot of guys on the show. I can't even remember. We've had Barrett Rule. We've had so many guys. We're going to have some special guests throughout the year. If you want to get the inside locker room scoop on the Bucs, watch the Bucs Extra Point. Monday nights, 8 p.m. Check me out. Check my boys out. We're all there. Eric, we might even have you on sometime.
And I can talk high school football and give Shelton a hard time. I can show him that triathlon ad I have where if football was hard, they would call it triathlon. I showed that to you guys, but I need to show it to Q and get his awkward response.
Let's see what he would say. Oh, yeah, really?
Let's lace him up. Low. Little play action again. Down the field, looking for Greer. Greer can't hold on. He tried to split 2 defenders. Lowe actually put it in a good spot.
You know, Lowe made a great throw on that pass. A flag down here. That was like the old scissors route. They had one guy going on the post route, one guy going on the corner route. And actually, he dropped it right in there. It's up to the receiver to make a catch there. But once again, as a receiver, Eric, I'm telling you, when there are things on the sideline, when there are things in the end zone, you sometimes worry about where you're going to fall.
The flag on the play was for holding against Lakeland. So it is declined, and it will bring up a punting situation for the Dreadnaughts and Justin Burdett. So on 3rd down and long, Lake Gibson gets the stop that they want. DeVault, the speedster, back at the 10-yard line. He's a top Division I recruit, and rushes on. Trying to get to it was Robinson. The punter goes down, but no flag. DeVault catches it on his 5-yard line and can't get loose of the Dreadnaughts tacklers. Probably should have let that go.
Well, yeah, that was one that maybe he should have let go, but that ball was so high up in the air. They did a great job, the punter did there, of getting the ball off, because that was almost a block. You see here, Lake Gibson's, you see him right there. It was close. I mean, maybe a yard or 2, but he does a great job of punting the ball straight up in the air. And maybe if that ball hits, it bounces straight up. But then again, maybe if it hits, it bounces in the end zone. So, you know, it's just one of those things. That's why I never really like returning punts, because it's too much pressure on a guy like myself.
So Lake Gibson and John Tremblay back out on the field for only the 2nd time in this ball game at 4:09 left in the 1st quarter, and a fumbled snap from center. So this will be a wasted down for Lake Gibson, and a late flag comes out. Some pushing and shoving. And if this is on Lake Gibson, they'll be fortunate that it's only going to move them half the distance to the goal line. But if it's against Lakeland, it's going to get the LG out of a hole.
That should have probably been an offsetting penalty. I mean, both of the guys, you see them right here. Well, we stopped the replay. Thanks, guys in the truck. But, you know, as it was going on, they just were tussling a little bit. I mean, it's heated down there. I mean, these kids want to win this ball game. They both want to do well. They probably known each other since Little League, probably played against each other. And, you know, it's in front of a packed house.
It wasn't sportsmanlike. And Lakeland declined it.
This place is packed, Eric.
Back-to-back weeks where we've been at packed houses. Raymond James Stadium last week had more than 13,000 for Blake and Middleton, but tonight...
I wouldn't say that was packed.
Well, for a high school game,
That's right.
It set a record for them for the first time in many, many years.
And I can remember the preseason game we did between these clubs last year. They had at least 4,000, and that game was threatened due to a lightning storm.
They stopped the game for a little while.
Second down and long. They'll go back to Harris. Harris gets across the 5 and gets dumped there. Good play by the interior defensive line of the Dreadnaughts with filling in for Edom. They had Connor Johnson out there. He was at the bottom of that pile.
You see right here that Lake Gibson is trying to establish a run. You know, Lakeland has some good players on that defensive side. That's what's really been their key this year, their defense. You know, if Lake Gibson has an opportunity to win this ball game, they're going to have to make smarter plays, no dumb penalties like the unsportsmanlike conduct, because it'll back you up and they'll get that momentum. We talked about Big Mo. It could be on Lakeland's side right now.
Nate Smith is the leading receiver. He's to the near side of the screen. Tremblay goes back, play action. They're going to roll him out of the pocket. And he is chased and dumped down by the linebacker. Getting to him with Scotty Bryant. Adding to his 65 tackles on the season. Took him down right at the goal line.
Man, we saw Scotty Bryant in the preseason game. I was like, wow, this kid is amazing, man. He makes plays. He just runs around. He can run. He can tackle. He's everything you need in a linebacker.
Now remember the special teams problems that Lake Gibson had earlier, and actually they're going to send back a new punter.
That's right, the punter got a little shaken up on that one where he kicked the ground.
It's Donnell Moore, and he unloads it. High kick, very short, going to give up great field position to Lakeland, as Lake Gibson is going to down it at around the 31-yard line. So Lakeland also living dangerously, jumping over the football, and very fortunate they didn't have contact with it, and that would give it back to the Braves. It's something we saw on the illegal kick on the very first punt attempt by the Braves.
Well, you know, Eric, that's up to the punt returner to yell. They usually have a code word or something to say, get away from the ball, you know. Whether it's fire, 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 or whatever, it tells the guys that are blocking, the ball is on the ground, get away from it.
Big offensive lineman up front waiting for their leader, Billy Lowe, to come back and get him to play. So basically, after the 3 and out, Lakeland has the football back before they had the pitch miscue and lost 8 yards. Rainey on the night, he was credited with that 8-yard loss on the bad pitch. Running the option again here. Lowe this time will be taken down. Getting to him was Donnell Moore. Moore covered the quarterback, and Rainey was covered as well.
Great job from Lake Gibson there, doing what I said. They must be listening to my headset, because you'll see the defensive back here, they all go towards Chris Rainey. Hey, let the quarterback kill us if he's going to kill us. That's only 3, 4, maybe 5 yards if he breaks. I'm more concerned with Chris Rainey catching the ball in space.
Lowe may be a better passer than Chris Griffin, but you know the Dreadnaughts missed the option running ability of their senior quarterback from last year and his speed. They actually counted LT as a no gain. They do get back to the line of scrimmage. So now Lakeland spreading them out. Quick swing pass out to Rainey. They try to set up the screen to him. DeVault out there chasing him down and has him. Well, I tell you what, he proved he's a Division I recruit there, because he avoided the block and was able to hold on to one of the most elusive guys and make a tackle.
I'll tell you what, on that play right there, that's a play that one of those scouts is going to look at and say, you know what, this kid's a player. Watch this. Chris Rainey's going to put on his move right there. He didn't buy it. He made sure he got him down on the ground. You know, that's a Division I play right there.
No gain on the play, back to the 32-yard line. So DeVault, again, one of our super seniors we talked about at the beginning of the season on the Beef O'Brady's high school scoreboard. And we'll talk more about that program later. 3rd down and long again. Lakeland has been in 3rd down and long situations all night long. Can the LG come up with a stop? Throwing again on the run, and the ball goes through the hands of the intended receiver out there, Paul Wilson. And it'll bring up a 4th down.
That's what you call a drop right there. You can't have that. You can't have that, especially when your quarterback is scrambling. He puts it right on the money. I mean, Billy Lowe did everything he could on that play to make that play work. It's up to the magic man to make the catch.
Lowe fired that one in there too, like a pitcher up on the hill. And where the ball's at right now, instead of a long field goal, they're just going to go ahead and go for it, LT. You like the call?
Well, the wind's at your back. I don't know. No. They're Lakeland. They're the #1 team in the nation. Hey, why not?
Little play action again. Lowe has time, finds his man. Ball tipped up in the air. It'll be incomplete. Turn it over on downs. So Greer basically the same spot as the last drop, couldn't hold on to it.
Curl flat combination. You know, Billy Lowe is going to have to get his receivers on the sideline and say, hey, guys, make a play for me, okay? Come on, guys. I put 2 right in your hands. You got to make that play for me. And they were well-thrown balls. It's just, you know, and one thing I do like, the Lakeland receivers tried to catch it with their hands. You see a lot of high school kids trying to catch it with their bodies. That's a no-no because that gets you a false symbol. You know, you see Keyshawn Johnson. I mean, that's one of the guys in the league. I never liked the way he caught the football. But, hey, he's caught a lot of footballs. I guess any way you catch it is what you catch.
And both of those patterns were around the 20-yard line, so they did run enough of the route to pick up the first down. New quarterback is Raymond Martin, gets his shot in there, and he can run the football because he's the fullback, and he just runs it right back to the line of scrimmage. Making the tackle will be Edgar Lewis, and he also had some help as well. Another one of those top-notch linebackers, Rashad Coleman.
In order to move the football on Lakeland, you're going to have to try to spread those linebackers out or at least get them out of the ball game. I mean, when you have linebackers like Lakeland, you got to try to do something just to try to spread them out because they make too many plays on the football.
Tremblay comes back in after Martin as a 1-play and out. They swing it out here, and Tremblay just short hops it out to his intended receiver, Natil Smith, who's leading the team with 12 receptions.
You know, I'm trying to figure out a way for Lake Gibson to get the football into Isaac Harris' hand. I mean, they got to get it to this guy. In order for them to be able to win this ball game, they're going to have to somehow get the ball into his hands.
Third down coming up, but not until we change sides. First 12 minutes are in the books. Chris Rainey makes an outstanding run, and then a big kickoff return by Lake Gibson ties it up. It's 7-7 on the game of the week. Welcome back to the high school football game of the week. Lake Gibson, as soon as they switched sides, they tried to run a hurry-up play.
Ready.
And it went backwards as Martin received the football, and he lost about 5 yards on the play. So again, it is a punting situation, the 3 and out for Lake Gibson. Donnell Moore will be punting the football. Again, a near block, just unbelievable how Troy Johnson did not get the football, but Chris Rainey has it now. You can hear the crowd. And he gets into Braves territory at the 40-yard line. Every time he touches the ball, LT, you can hear the crowd just raise their level of excitement.
You can hear the crowd, man. I mean, you can just watch. I mean, everybody's
there. They're like,
everybody's standing up. Is in awe of what this kid is going to do when he touches the football. I mean, he's a magician. He's everything. I mean, Coach Castle has to be so happy that he's blessed to have 2 great quality backs, a power back, a speed back. He got it all back there.
Well, Rainey kept up with his average there of more than 18 yards, a 20-yard return. We'll start out at the 40-yard line for Lowe, and Rainey gets it here. Trying to get to the outside, he'll be dragged down from behind. John Williams, the middle linebacker, gets to him. One of those 3 seniors lining up for the linebacking core.
The thing that Lake Gibson is going to have to do is make tackles behind the line of scrimmage. You see right there, that's just too many yards for Lakeland to have, because what that does puts Lakeland in a good position to call anything they want. You got 2nd and 5. Hey, you can call anything you want. You can go pass, you can go run, you can do it all right now.
It is a 2nd down and 5 as that Lake Gibson defense trying to get charged up. On the outside, Claude Davis, the junior, trying to tap everybody in the helmet, saying, come on, fellas, we need a big play. Lowe gives it to Rainey. Rainey to the outside will have the first down. Rainey, he's just jogging right now, looking for running room, and he's down to the 21-yard line. A 14-yard run.
No.
A 14-yard little jog.
Yeah. Correct yourself, Eric. 14-yard jog here. Watch the kid. I mean, he's so much faster. He's almost skipping. I mean, he's still faster than you and I, Eric.
Well, I know he's faster than me. I might be able to beat him in a 10-mile run, but in the 100-yard dash, I'd be left at the 14-yard line.
maybe he's a little gassed, or, you know, we hope that's what it is, because he's an exciting ball player to watch. Got to give it up for the offensive line there.
Well, he's not on the field right now, so they'll put the ball in the hands of number 25, the fullback, and a flag comes out as Jamar Taylor goes down at around the 20. And by all indications, Lakeland is saying this is going to be on the LG.
Okay. Yeah, 5 yards, face mask. We got a face mask on the tackle, 5 yards.
So that's a free 5 yards right here. And not intentional by Leon Stewart, the 6', 270-pound junior. And so far, pretty much a penalty. I wouldn't say penalty free. It's obviously not penalty free, but not any of the big penalties that you would expect from heated rivals. They're keeping their emotions.
You've only had one unsportsmanlike.
Taylor trying to bounce through the middle of that Lake Gibson defense. He does have the first down. He has a 1st and goal inside the 10, down at the 7-yard line.
Power back, Eric. Power back. That's what the people came to see. Jamar Taylor, you see him right here. He's going to just get the football up the middle and watch the power, run through arm tackles. Actually, they ripped his shirt off there. Can't bring him down by the shirt.
They go back to Taylor. Taylor with 10 touchdowns on the season, 4 touchdowns on the year for Chris Rainey. He has 1 in this ball game. If you missed it in the first quarter, you missed another one of those magical runs. Not as long, but it still did the damage. Rainey gets it here, goes up the middle. And at times, LT, he can show you some power, too, between the tackles. He gets inside the 5, down to 3, picks up 4.
You know, he's wiry, Eric. I mean, he just makes it happen. When you watch him run up the middle, you're saying, oh, this kid can't survive running up the middle, but he has that sneaky strength here. That's a run. He ran through at least 2 arm tackles right there. Takes a lot to bring him down.
And Demetrius Wilson, number 73, is his right tackle, had already land-basted one guy, and he was looking up the middle to hit somebody else. He couldn't find anybody else to hit. 2nd down and goal coming up for Lakeland. They're looking to take the lead in a tie ball game.
What do you say, a sweep right here, Eric?
To the near side of the field, where it looks like they're going, but they're going to be caught as Taylor takes it off tackle. He gets in the end zone, but the whistle comes out beforehand. It's going to move the Lakeland Dreadnaughts back 5 yards.
We got it.
So that basically wipes out the run by Rainey, brings up a 2nd and goal back at the 8-yard line for Coach Castle and his quarterback.
I think for Lake Gibson right now, they need a couple more of those penalties, maybe move them back.
Lake Gibson and Lakeland are going to have a timeout. Lakeland's going to call their 2nd timeout of the first half. They're averaging 32 points a ball game, and offensively, the majority of the yards they've been churning up have been on the ground. So decision time here. They obviously want to make use of this 2nd down and goal situation, because they're at the 8-yard line, and they're probably deciding whether we need to throw it in or run it based on that last penalty that changed their game plan for getting in. If you're not the game of the week, you're probably on the Beef O'Brady's High School scoreboard. The Friday Night Mike, the history lesson, the coach of the week. The high school scoreboard with myself and Drew Felios has it all. Big games besides this contest. The Clearwater Central Catholic Marauders taking on Berkeley Prep. Also Plant Volleyball, undefeated, entering this weekend's play. And they are definitely excited about the Panthers' chances in Class 5A. We'll have those stories and much more on this Tuesday's edition of the Beef O'Brady's High School scoreboard. Brand new set. We have brand new digs now.
I got to ask you a question.
Sure.
Between you and Sweet Tomatoes, that's Drew Felios, who came up with the high five? I like that, man.
The high five?
Yeah, we need to get some high fives up in here.
Rainey gets the call. He's trying to get to the outside. He's on the verge of losing yardage, turns the corner, and gets in the end zone. guarantee he should have went out of bounds. Any other player would have lost yardage. If there's 4 gears in a standard automobile, probably 5, you just saw gear number 7.
Yeah,
from
but I'm going
Chris
to tell you
Rainey.
something. We saw gear number 7, but I also saw the guy who deserved the most credit on that play was Pouncey, the offensive lineman, number 66, James Pouncey. You'll see him coming back on a crushing block to spring his running back.
The extra point attempt by Roddenberry is up and away. It's a 14-7 ball game. Keep an eye on that man right there.
Sit right here. Oh, it's Paul. Okay, it's Paul Wilson. My fault. I gave credit to the wrong person, the Magic Man. Watch this block. What a run by Chris Rainey.
You know, when you have a guy like that, I want to give all the credit to him, but you also wonder if Lake Gibson, some of the defenders, well, he's going out of bounds. And then all of a sudden they're like, my goodness, watch that tiptoe down the sidelines, and they just, you have to stare in awe. The second touchdown of the night by Chris Rainey. Rainey coming in, his numbers not nearly what they were at this time last year. He came in with only 3 touchdowns, and something called a big rivalry in the 5A District 8 has got him motoring tonight. With the cameras on, he's picked up 2 big scores.
You gotta say, when he has the football, like you said, Eric, people stop in awe. I mean, I really want to believe on that play, Lake Gibson thought that, hey, he's going out of bounds. He's tight roping the sideline. He's just going to run out of bounds. But he has such great balance, cat-like balance. He's able to tiptoe down the sideline.
So a short kick.
That's called respect.
Taken by Lake Gibson right at the 31-yard line. Again, another look at the blocking.
Wilson is split out wide here on the left. You can't see him, but you'll see it when he comes back in here. Watch the block right here on the corner. Oh, my goodness.
And the kick-out block by LaShawn Pouncey, as he was pulling from his left guard position, really did a number out there on Ingraham as he was coming up from his strong safety spot to make the tackle. And he was just pounced on.
When you have a great back, give him a little help. He'll make it look real good.
Lake Gibson looking for a first down. Isaac Harris has yet to get going, but he does here, as Lake Gibson has the first down for the first time in this ball game. And it took him almost half of the second quarter to do it. So Coach DeMeyer finally gets his offense moving after a 15-yard run.
Well, he's the guy, Eric. He's the guy that's going to carry this team on his back. He has to, because he is a weapon in himself. I mean, he can do it all. This guy can run through you, he can run by you, he can run around you. He's a complete back, just like on the other side.
We had Edgar Lewis on his back on that last play. First down for the LG as they look to answer the second Rainey touchdown of the night. Oh, and Harris gets caught in the backfield. Another outstanding tackle out there by Scott Bryant.
Scotty Bryant making plays. I mean, this kid doesn't mind the fact that at one point he was a safety. He comes up, he makes plays.
And at one point, he was a captain Red Devil last year.
And also the whole point, he was living in Lakeland School District.
So it's a loss of about 2.5, call it 3 on the play. Brings up a second down and long for John Tremblay, just a junior, the Lake Gibson quarterback. Again, Harris is the single setback. They're going to put it in the air again, trying their first completion. He just overshoots his man. The intended receiver out there was Sean Barnes. And when we talk to Coach DeMeyer about their quarterback situation, they've had Matt Grothe all these years, and he said it was hard to find a backup because all of his kids knew you're not going to play with the 4A Player of the Year.
That's right. I mean, who wants to say, okay, I'm going to be Grothe's backup? I know I'm not going to get to play for 2 or 3 years. I might as well work on another position, and I'm sure that's what happened. These kids didn't expect, well, they knew he was going to have to graduate at some point, but hey, everybody wants to be on the football field, so his best athletes decided, hey, I'm going to play another position, and now they're paying for it.
But it did work out. They did get to the state championship a couple seasons in a row. Send Martin in motion. He'll reset right behind his right tackle. Picking up Lewis. Throw is out there, nearly intercepted. I'll tell you what, Natil Smith was open, and Deontay Parker almost came up with the pick. It would have been good enough for a first down. Tremblay is just off target a little bit.
Well, I'm not a quarterback coach, but one of the things, it almost looks like he's shot putting the ball, you know? He kind of holds it up there on his shoulder, and then he flings it out. I mean, it's throwing motion. It's kind of weird, but that's, hey, maybe I'm used to seeing Matt Grothy throw in that LG helmet.
Matt used to wear number 8, and Bilal Powell, who scored that kickoff return, wears number 8 now. Moore to punt it away. Pretty good looking punt to the 22-yard line for Chris Rainey. Rainey gets dumped as he crosses the 30. So at least Lake Gibson could say we're having Lakeland start on their own side of the field. First time in a while. Their defense is start looking for opportunities that they can wreak havoc on the orange and black tonight, try to cause a turnover. Chris Rainey, what he's been able to do, closing in on that 100-yard mark. Remember, I told you his best game of the season against Miami-Norland. A 9-carry, 109-yard performance, his longest run of the season of 74 yards.
And that's telling you a lot for Lakeland to go play a Miami team. That's saying a lot about this team, because they usually have a lot of speed down there in the South Florida area. And for Chris Rainey to have an explosion like that, that's just telling you in this area, he should run wild.
Claude Davis gets credit for that tackle on Taylor, but Taylor did pick up 3 yards. Lake Gibson does have an injured ball player. We cannot see his number, but he's not on the field right now, whether it's offense or defense. But they're very concerned because they do have him on a stretcher right now as Rainey picks up maybe a couple yards. It'll bring up a second down or a third down and call it 6, short 5 for the Lakeland Dreadnaughts.
Well, Chris Rainey, he just kind of glides through the hole. He got pounded that time.
At 5:46, the officials will call another timeout for the mid-quarter water break. The injured player, we've been told, is number 8. I was just talking about him, who scored that kickoff return, Bilal Powell, the 6', 180-pound defensive back. They have him out there on a stretcher. We've been told it's possibly a concussion, as the EMTs are going to be taking him probably a couple of blocks from right here. I mean, the hospital is within eye shot of all of our cameras. So he doesn't have too far to go.
We can just wheel him on over there, and if he's okay, they just bring him back. You get right back in the game.
Get back in the second half. But have you ever suffered a concussion?
Oh yeah, many of them.
Sure that
I remember my first one in high school, returning punts. I called for fair catch, and playing Lake City High School, and obviously the guy didn't see the fair catch signal and just ran through me. You know, to protect these high school ball players, they're going to sit them out a while. If you suffer a concussion, you're going to sit out a while, whether it's a game or two.
Low pitches back to Rainey. Rainey came up with the football, and he has the first down. He's inside Lake Gibson territory. Picks up another block. Taken down inside the 15-yard line by DeVault. LT, that play was made by the quarterback Lowe, because as he's going down, all the defenders thought maybe this pitch was going back to Taylor. Instead, out of nowhere, there's number 3 coming off the wing.
It's a great design play, and Billy Lowe does a great job of waiting to the last second to pitch this football. You know, Chris Rainey, if he wants, look what he's going to try to turn it on right here. You see right there, he can accelerate, turn it off, turn it on, whatever he wants to do. But you know what? That was a great tackle right there.
That's because he saw number 15. He remembers, oh, this guy took me down an open field. He's got speed. Speed on that play for Rainey, picked up 50 yards. He's definitely now over the 100-yard mark. And it's a first down as they mark him out at the 14-yard line. Lowe keeps it here. Lowe breaking tackles.
Gets inside the 5. He should have another first and goal.
But a flag is resting back at the 15-yard line, way off your screen from the far sideline. And it looks like it's coming back.
Hey, I'm sorry, Billy Lowe. I shouldn't have said it. I'd rather have you run the football. I mean, he shows right here some moxie as he goes in there and he's grinding it out. Look at him. That's good. That's a good job by quarterback. Hey, he figures, hey, you're going to go at Jamar Taylor. You're going to grab the Chris Rainey. Why can't I get a little props here and there?
Demetrius Wilson throwing for about 3 yards, too. As he got ready, said nobody else to block. Just
he almost
throw you
threw
forward.
him in the end zone.
Well, after the penalty, it puts it back to the 21-yard line.
Big Mo, I have to say, Eric, it's definitely on this orange side of the football.
Blake Gibson desperately needs to stop. Lowe's going to put it in the air. There's a man wide open in the middle of the field. His tight end lays off for the touchdown. A wide receiver filling in for the injured tight end Jordan Hammond, and he was wide open.
He threw his hand up as soon as he came off the line of scrimmage. It caught him in a cover 3 defense, Eric. That means that once he cleared, because he was a number 2 receiver, once he cleared that safety that was lined up over him, there was nobody behind him. It's up to the corner and the safety to close that down, but they were nowhere in sight.
Extra point is paying through the uprights by Matt Roddenberry. And see, these are the passes that when you're so wide open, you got to hold on.
Oh, yeah, they were scary. You see right there, he was wide open. I mean, I got to give it to Lowe. He does a good job of looking to the left. And you see the safety right there, number 1. It's his job to get him maybe a jam, redirect him a little bit, and that causes the corners and the safety, Cameron, that was his job to maybe redirect him a little bit. But, you know, hey, Billy Lowe did a good job of looking to the left, comes back to the right, he's wide open. Yeah, you are number 1, buddy.
You saw the time of possession. Of course, the majority of those 69 yards picked up due to the 50-yard run by Rainey, and where Lowe, that unbelievable pitch as he's going down to the turf where it looked like he might have been taken down. Now Coach DeMeyer has to be concerned. We're behind now, 2 touchdowns. We've only scored on a special teams play. Our offense last week against Haines City, it took us until the second half to get rolling, but by the time you get in the second half against Lakeland, you could be down by about 20 points. Another short kickoff, another fair catch called for at the 30-yard line by Michael Williams.
I guess they're figuring, hey, you know what, we'll take our chances. We'll give you the ball at 30. Our defense is good enough. We'll rather have you try to drive the ball 70 yards on us than take back another kickoff for a touchdown.
This is the one spot in the country where you can show the L, and it doesn't stand for the one thing that sometimes your girlfriends would put on their forehead and call you after your relationship was over.
Loser.
Martin trying to bounce to the outside, nothing doing, but he escapes and he gets loose, and maybe it was the wrong thing to do because he lost even more yardage as the former defensive back, now strong side linebacker Troy Johnson takes him down. Johnson is the leading tackler, believe it or not, on this team. You mentioned all those other players that we have from the secondary, from the linebackers, the guys up front. Johnson's actually the guy leading the team in tackles.
Well, Johnson runs around, he makes plays. I mean, you got those other 2 guys out there. You got a 3-headed monster at linebacker. I mean, they're all interchangeable. This guy used to be a safety. He knows how to play the football. So now he's a little closer to the line, and I think he likes it because he's more into the action. He can hit people a lot faster.
Loss of 10 on the play. Tremblay, the quarterback, again from the I formation. Will they go back to Harris? No, it's play action. Stepping up through the pocket. Tremblay's going to keep it himself. And he gets flipped upside down at around the 29-yard line. That took guts to go in against that combination of the Dreadnaughts. Ahmad Black and also Scotty Bryant.
He did a good job of, once he was flushed out of the pocket, trying to pick up as much yards as he can. And, you know, he turns on a little speed here. I mean, for a quarterback, watch him. Hey, you know what? If I'm on this team, I'm saying, hey, you know what? That's what I like, a Brett Favre type play right there. You got to get your respect from your teammates.
Just don't throw it off your back foot. Third down.
And don't throw it to the other team.
11. Tremblay trying to keep the possession for the Braves. Hit from behind, and he will go down. That rush just too hard coming off the edge by Nick Moody. And that's the fourth pass attempted by Tremblay, and no completions yet. So another fourth down coming up for the Braves.
Well, Eric, they're fortunate that he did get hit, because you know, if he doesn't get a hit right there, it was 3 Lakeland defenders around that football, and that was probably going to be an interception.
Rainey back at the 35.
Ahmad Black was saying, why'd you get the rush? I was sitting right there in the zone.
Moore to punt it away. And he punts it away from Rainey, but it bounces right to him, and he touched it and lost the football, and Lake Gibson has it inside the 30. Sometimes, LT, you tell the punt returners to get away from it. That one bounced right to him. It bounced right up to his hands.
Well, he probably took his eyes off it. I mean, you know, from playing baseball, playing shortstop, you got to keep your body in front of the ball. You see right here, he tried to just short arm it, took a weird hop on him. I mean, it's just like hitting the ball to the shortstop. Sometimes the ball takes a weird hop. And he tried, you see it right here, didn't get his body in front of him, tried to catch it on the side. And all the great ones, they're trying to make plays. He's trying to make a play for his team. And you know what? That's how punt returns usually happen, the big plays. And everybody sees that ball bounce on the ground, they kind of just stop.
Lake Gibson has to be thinking, we need to take advantage of this turnover. Tremblay hit and just dumped. Coleman.
Oh my goodness.
He treated him like an old rag doll that you find at one of those garage sales.
Oh my goodness. Watch this play here. There is just no chance. That is a decleater.
And Tremblay might have hit his head here. Watch the helmet action.
You see the bottom of his cleats right there.
He grabbed his head and the helmet, and that's one where he is out of the ball game right now. I got a feeling he's hearing some canaries right now. Martin checks in at quarterback. It's a loss of 2. He'll hand it off to Harris. Harris trying to bounce to the outside. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and that is it, and a late flag comes out.
Probably going to be a holding or something like that. Oh, it's on Lakeland. The LG guys are pointing towards the Lakeland.
No, they'll take it.
Face mask.
Is it a 5-yarder or is it 15?
Well, I'm sure right now Lake Gibson is saying we don't care what it is. It's more than what the yardage that we picked up on this run play anyway. See right here, does a good job of bouncing off the tackle right there. I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe at the end of the play there. Oh, it's a big one.
It's a big one, and
it's like what old Fred Sampson said. It's the big one. It's the big one. Elizabeth, it's the big one.
Elizabeth, here I come. Inside the 15-yard line, Lake Gibson on the move after the turnover on special teams. And this big 15-yard penalty. Tremblay still on the sidelines, but he's standing up. They'll give it back to Harris. Harris bounces off a tackler and turns the corner, and he gets inside the 5-yard line.
Look at the balance of Harris. I hate to make comparison to guys that are great, that have played the game, but this kid right here, watch the balance. Watch him bounce off tackle right there. I mean, that's greatness in itself on the high school level.
After a 7-yard gain, it's a second down and 3. He's at the 6-yard line. And now a whistle blows and a timeout is called. Has Lake Gibson called a timeout? No, Lakeland burns their final timeout with 1:34 remaining. So Lake Gibson now, their plan is twofold. Score and use as much of this clock as they can, because they know they don't want to give it back to Lakeland here with time remaining in the first half, because Lakeland gets it to start the third quarter.
That's right. They definitely have to get in the end zone. They're going to have to get some type of points out of it. They really want a touchdown, but I'm sure they'll take a field goal. Thing is, you don't want to give it back to this Lakeland offense. I mean, it's a minute 34. All Chris Rainey needs is maybe 5 seconds.
Many fans are always asking me on the Beef O'Brady's High School scoreboard in this show, what's the best summer job? Go to our website and find out at catch47.com. It's our high school scoreboard auditions where you can earn a part-time job during the summer as a sports reporter with Catch 47. And we're not just talking high school sports or you'll be an intern. You will be a paid reporter. We have auditions.
What's the age
at
group?
least once a month. You have to be in high school, LT. You got a job. Sophomore through a senior. By the time you see this, we would have had our latest tryouts and auditions in Plant City, but we still have another 6 tryout sessions to go. Just go to the website and watch the show. 2nd down and 3. Tremblay back in at quarterback. No, make that Martins. He's still out there. They'll give it to Harris. Harris! He's caught as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up a 3rd down.
Boy, the Lakeland defense closed on that play so fast. Troy Johnson, I mean, those guys are fast, man. They get to that ball carrier so fast. I mean, to be the #1 team in the nation, you got to have some type of players. You got to have a defense, and they definitely have a defense and some offensive backs.
Might have lost the length of the football. The Dreadnought crowd coming to life. They want their defense to get a stop. It's 3rd down and 3 with less than a minute to play in the first half. Trailing by 2 touchdowns are the Braves. Martin going to get on the run. He's chased. He'll go down. But another flag comes out. Could it be another face mask? Edgar Lewis and Rashard Coleman were chasing him. This could give Lake Gibson another opportunity.
We talked about penalties early. I mean,
it'll at least give him another play here.
Yeah. Face mask. See right here, he does a great job of trying to. There it is. It's not intentional. Didn't bring him down, but he did grab the face mask.
And plus, it's the quarterback.
That's right.
So everybody was watching the play.
Can't hide,
including our cameramen. So it doesn't give them a 1st down. They still have a loss on the play. Lake Gibson is now pointing at the clock. I believe the clock restarted.
Yeah, it was on 39.5. I think it was 39.5.
Lakeland does not have any timeouts. Lake Gibson will go ahead and call one. They still have 2 left.
Hey, it's home field advantage, you know. It didn't work for Pittsburgh, but it might work here. You know, hopefully Lake Gibson doesn't notice and run a couple of seconds off the clock.
And now you have to look at some of the matchups. If they try to put the football in there, they haven't completed a pass all night long. Natil Smith is their leading receiver. He goes at 6'1", 175. Does Coach DeMeyer try a fade route? Do they try a slant route? Do they try to keep it on the ground and just pick up the 1st down? They can still get a 1st down. They're only 3 yards away if they get it to the 4-yard line.
Well, it's 3rd down. You know, one of the things, if I'm going to try something, I'm going to try maybe a sweep or an off-tackle play. I'm not going to try to run up the middle on this Lakeland defense or the fade route. You know, at least if they don't complete it, it stops the clock. They still get an opportunity to go in and have 21-10.
The clock is correct. It would have started. That's why Lake Gibson did call their timeout. Or now are they going to fix the clock?
I think I had it at 39.5, Eric.
It didn't look like they were going to fix it, so I thought maybe it was supposed to restart after the penalty, but you can tell Coach DeMeyer on that far sideline standing with one of the officials, and they will not let Lake Gibson hike the ball. So obviously they're looking to reset the clock another 11 seconds.
Every second counts.
And now Mark Dietrich is coming over to the sidelines to tell Coach Castle probably what the delay. And Coach Castle obviously has some objections.
Look at those Lake Gibson jerseys. I mean, they're a little cross between the San Francisco 49ers, Florida State Seminoles, Boston College. They got the look like little tomahawks on the back there.
And it looks like they're going to put 10 seconds back on and make it 38. 21-7 is our score. Lakeland on top. They scored first on a dynamic 35-yard run by Chris Rainey. Lake Gibson immediately tied it back up on a 90-yard kickoff return by Bilal Powell. He is checked out of the ball game with a concussion. He did not receive it on that play. And then 2 more touchdowns, another electrifying 8-yard run, as you can say, by Chris Rainey, and then the latest, a touchdown pass from Lowe to Lason. 3rd down and 3 for Lake Gibson. Another shot after the special teams turnover. They trail it by 14 points. They'll keep it on the ground. Harris caught in the backfield. He gets dumped at the line of scrimmage. Once again, Johnson in on that tackle.
Man, Johnson is in the backfield. I mean, he just shoots the gap here. He sees one-on-one tackle. He goes as low as possible, holds on, does a good job of holding on, waiting for the other guys to come and finish him off. You can't ask for anything more than from a linebacker.
Looks like Lake Gibson is going to burn their 2nd timeout with 8.7 seconds left. Well, is it field goal time? LT, you just get the points. It's a little bit, only about 5 yards longer than an extra point attempt just to get points on the board, or do you throw it in the end zone?
Well, you know,
you haven't completed a pass all night.
You haven't completed the pass. You're playing the #1 team in the nation. You know, I would say, yeah, you try to go for it. But, you know, hey, why don't you just put some points on the board? Hopefully you can get another turnover, something to happen. Anything can happen. You know, you see Lakeland's bringing in Chris Rainey to try to block this field goal.
Yeah,
I think we saw him block a field goal. Maybe it was that against Hillsborough.
He has some blocks, but so does that man that you just saw making those tackles in Troy Johnson. He has 4 block kicks. Everybody in action tonight in the district. Lakeland, Lake Gibson, obviously the preseason favorites, as George Jenkins and Kissimmee Osceola having nightmare seasons. A 24-yard attempt. Hines nails it.
That was close.
Very close by number 3.
I think it went through his hands. See right here, he just shoots this gap. Actually, oh, it goes right under.
Well, you can tell who the kick blockers are. Number 3 and 26. You talked about 3, I talked about 26. Johnson came up high, tried to cut inside the wingman on the block. And Rainey tried to use the speed to get there fast, but it's a 21-10 ball game as Sean Hines bangs the 24-yard field goal, so they do take advantage of the turnover.
Well, you don't kick it right here. You don't kick it to Chris Rainey. You just don't kick it to him. I'm kicking it to anybody except this kid. I mean, right now I'm looking at Troy Taylor. I mean, I'm looking at anybody. I'm looking at Jamar Taylor. I'm looking at anybody except Chris Rainey. I'm looking at Troy Johnson. I'm even looking at Coach Castle. I'm looking at anybody.
Yeah, you got to do what Lakeland has been doing with Ron Baer. Just pooch it up in the air, make them have a fair catch at around the 40, 35-yard line. Oh, plenty enough time to take to run the clock down. And the ball falls off the tee, so you have to run back and
Eric, it's about that time. Every game we do, it's about that time. You know where I got to go.
Yeah, you're about 5 seconds away from going to the concession stand.
Give me one of them
you'll be lost.
I know.
Bring us back something. And stay with us through halftime, as we'll definitely have a huge band show with Lake Gibson and Lakeland. They'll keep it on the ground, and that should do it. But Lakeland will have a chance to either heave it downfield or just take a knee. Matt Greer fell on it. Just an outstanding crowd tonight. Student support, still looking for that wild fan of the game. Lakeland is just packed over here on their sidelines. The end zone seating has been packed. Lake Gibson definitely brought the house. And that'll do it for the first half. An exciting first half. The #1 team in the nation doing what they do best, and that's lead football games. A touchdown pass by that man right there was the last score they had. We'll recap it for you as we head to the third quarter. It's 21-10, Knots over the Braves, 5A, District 8. High school football game of the week. It's halftime here at Bryant Stadium. Eric Keaton and Lamar Thomas with you as the Lakeland Dreadnaughts will try to build on that 11-point lead over the Lake Gibson Braves. Let's show you how it happened in the first half, just in case you missed it. Watch the move here by the Rain Man, LT.
Well, the #1 team in the nation with one of the top players in the nation. He puts a move on right there. He left someone jock on the ground for a touchdown.
35-yard TD run made it 7-0. Then on the kickoff, number 8 is his name for the Lake Gibson Braves, Bilal Powell, the junior, and he was gone. A quick answer by the Braves.
Wow. The momentum, Big Mo that is now on Lake Gibson's side. It's 7-7 ball game. I tell you, Lake Gibson's looking good right here.
That was after a 90-yard kickoff return, and then more Rainey in the second quarter. This is an 8-yard run that how he got around the corner, I have no idea.
A great block by the Magic Man, Paul Wilson, that set him up there, and he turns the corner and scores a touchdown.
Wide open. Hammond not in the ball game, the tight end, so the wide receiver playing that role. Layson gets in a 20-yard touchdown pass. He was wide open, and then the defense for the Dreadnaughts has been dominating.
A slobber knocker, a decleater, it's all good.
A field goal was added just before the half, a 24-yard field goal by Lake Gibson to make it 21-10. But look at the statistics. The quarterback for Lake Gibson, you saw him get knocked down, Tremblay. He's 0 for 4 in the contest. They have not completed a pass. They only have 23 yards on the ground. The majority of the yards for Lake Gibson have come on the ground. They are only averaging 1.6 yards per carry, basically per play for Lake Gibson because they haven't completed a pass. Meanwhile, Lakeland is averaging 11.7 yards per carry. Rainey, 12 carries, 127 yards. It's his best effort of the season. He has 2 touchdowns. Lowe is 5 of 9 LT for Coach Castle, but all 4 of his incompletions have all been drop passes.
Yeah, he's had a couple drops in that first half. I mean, usually sure-handed receivers usually catch the football for him. Greer and Wilson, they've had a couple of drops, but I'll tell you what, this game is only 21-10. Don't count Lake Gibson out because, hey, all it takes is another fumble or 2, and they can get right back in this game. And, hey, miracles do happen.
Sean Hines will kick it off. Both teams have been keeping the ball away from their key return men, especially after Chris Rainey on a punt had a 20-yard return, and Bilal Powell had the 90-yard kickoff return for Lake Gibson. It's basically been pooch kicks as we get ready to start the second half of play. Lake Gibson 2-2 on the season. Lakeland undefeated, trying to stay that way. It will be taken by the up man, Ahmad Black. Black trying to weave his way through the Braves and his teammates. Gets it across the 35 up to the 38-yard line.
I think Lake Gibson will take that.
Well, coming into this game, Lakeland, their opponents, even though they're 5-0, their opponents' records have a combined win-loss tally of 9-11. As for Lake Gibson, they've only played 4 games. Their opponents' records are 12-5, and that's including Kathleen, who should win tonight against first-year school Ridge Community and should improve to 6-0. So the tougher competition, you can obviously say, at least by win-loss percentage, the Braves have faced it. But Lakeland living up to the hype right now. They've only allowed a special teams touchdown, and a miscue on special teams allowed the other 3 points. Here goes Rainey, looking for that hole. Still on his feet as he's inside Brave territory down at the 35-yard line. A gain of 27 yards for Chris Rainey.
It's amazing to watch him run the football. I mean, he glides along, I mean, he's not even full speed right now. Makes cuts. You see that cut right there, and the fact that the kid tried to go low on him, the tackler tried to go low on him, and he just stepped over him. Here, just watch the cut. There it is, right there. Cuts off his blocker, Greer, makes a guy miss a tackle, picks up at least 8 more extra yards.
And Lake Gibson, Kavion Robinson, he hobbles off the field. He'll be replaced from his free safety position. Coming in for him is going to be Sean Waters, a junior. Back to the ground game. They go to the fullback, Taylor. Taylor inside the 30, and now just starting to eat up those ground yards and the clock. Remember at the beginning of the telecast, Coach DeMeyer said he didn't want his defense out there for a long time. They could make stops, but sometimes they weren't able to stay out on the field very long. Teams were sustaining drives and just pounding the football. Riverview did that against them in the second game of the season. And now Lakeland seems to be doing it as well. Taylor, again, another call. Taylor will have the first down. He's inside the 25, down at the 21. So this is becoming a quick drive with the ground game of Taylor and Rainey. Creative t-shirts here from the Lakeland Dreadnaughts, which I guess I'll go ahead and say it. Sure would like to have one added to our Beef O'Brady's spirit board that we're going to start creating. Taylor's been happy to go ahead and just watch Chris Rainey, the other half of the talented backfield, get his share of the carries tonight, as Rainey's been able to do the most of the damage. Rainey gets the call here, cuts back across, makes another move, and he'll score his third touchdown of the game. The only thing that can stop him probably is that cannon that almost blew up in his face. Another touchdown for the Rain Man.
That was what you call, Eric, nasty. The cut, you'll see it here. The cut that he makes at the end of this play is just pure nasty. I mean, he's leaving dirty laundry all over the field.
After the extra point attempt, it should be 28-10. Lakeland is firing it up in the second half. It only took them 1 minute and 15 seconds to score.
Watch the Rain Man do his thing. Watch the footwork here. And watch this cut. Ah! There you go. You see the defender laying on his jockstrap, on his derriere. Broken ankles everywhere. Watch number 11 here. Here it is. Coming right at him. Ah, gotcha.
Well, they actually ran more than a couple of plays to get in, but it seemed like it was a longer drive, 62 yards, and they did it in 4 plays. Rainey had 2 carries on that drive for well more than half those yards. He had 49, almost 75% of the carries of the yardage on that drive.
You know, it must be something about the game of the week, because every time we have this kid, I mean, last year against Hillsborough, I asked the question after the 3rd touchdown, did he get dressed in a phone booth? I mean, he looked like Superman. The kid is amazing.
Definitely his best game of the night. Came in with 3 touchdowns. He's matched it in this contest alone, 28-10. Another pooch kick and another fair catch at the 35-yard line. Looking for the Wild 98.7 fan of the game. Going to be tough duty tonight, as many fans are already starting to celebrate. Lake Gibson still trying to hold in there. Still a lot of time left in this ball game, but it's going to be tough duty for Raymond Martin to fire up his fans, to get them worthy of the fan of the game when they haven't completed a pass yet. They have to get back in this game somehow, whether it's getting that running game going and keeping that offense off the field now for Lakeland. Martin's going to throw it. Nearly intercepted by Wilkes. Wilkes would have been in the end zone.
That one, Eric, was one that
and he knows it too.
He should have had that one.
He knows
Definitely should have had that one. But he looks that way. The quarterback looks that way the whole time. 2 hitch routes out there. I guess he kind of threw it in between both of them. I mean, neither one of them could have caught it. The only person that could have caught that football was the defender.
The fullback in the game is Jarvis Patterson, as Martin does not play fullback, obviously, when he's the quarterback. Caught in the backfield is Harris, and Harris gets dumped again by Troy Johnson. Troy Johnson building up his tackling resume tape as he takes down the ball carrier for a loss.
Well, oh, poor little Isaac Harris. I mean, he can't get going tonight. I mean, when you're playing against a #1 team, probably one of the #1 defenses in the whole state of Florida, I mean, you're going to need your offensive line to help you out a little bit. He's not getting any help. But then again, hey, those guys on the other side of the football, those orange monsters over there, they're in the backfield.
They are the Orange Crush.
It's almost like they know what play is being called.
Johnson, that was just textbook. Another tackle for a loss, led the team with 13, worked off the fullback and just got into Harris's grill to take him down. Almost looked like Lake Gibson jumped off sides. They're going for the home run ball. But Ahmad Black is going to be back there and pick it off. The Vault has a hold of him and is trying to take him down, and he does inside the 20-yard line. But Ahmad Black picks up the interception. So Lakeland gets it back, and it's almost as good as a punt.
Yeah, that's just as good as a punt right there. I wouldn't say maybe it was a design punt. Just drops back. He just heaves it up here. I mean, totally 2-on-1 there. No opportunity for the receiver to catch the football. Actually, he does a great job of just making the tackle, holding on to Black there. Good tackle, gets him down on the ground. It's almost as good as the punt.
We'll give it to Rainey. Rainey now trying to work on a 200-yard night. Gets knocked as he goes out of bounds. And Coach Castle right there at the sideline motioning toward the officials. I'm not sure if he wanted a late hit, but Rainey was tiptoeing the sidelines. And you got to be careful as a defender. You know what he can do.
Yeah, you see right here, watch the nifty move there. Good footwork by the young, well, I wouldn't say young anymore. He's a junior now.
He was watching the dance team. That's obviously where he learned that split routine going over the defender.
It was almost a ballet. Lynn Swanish.
Well, the visiting teams have not been faring well this season on the game of the week, and that doesn't bode well for the Mitchell Mustangs at the Hudson Cobras. Next Friday for our game of the week that moves to Pasco County. The Mustangs and the Cobras. It'll be the first time on the game of the week for the Mitchell program. They're a newer school. They've been around for a few years, but it'll be the first time that any of their programs have been on the high school game of the week, whether it's football, basketball, or baseball. And for the Cobras, it'll be a homecoming for one of our cameramen, Scott Lusby, who's been working our fan cam tonight as he returns back to his old stomping grounds.
And boosters, make sure you have a little spread out there, because I always come hungry.
The whole crew comes hungry.
That's right. Especially our big man on the crew, Spanky, holding the camera down there. Doing a good job, too. He almost got ran over in the beginning of the game. You see that there by the team? There he is, Spanky.
It's hard to run Adam over. That's why we have him down there at that spot. And there's Scott. He'll be going back to Hudson next week. Of course, it looks like he's wearing a helmet right now. He has the helmet cam.
He's hiding.
Scott's somewhat of a celebrity. He was in Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, he just told me that.
In the photo behind Coach Levitt getting the Gatorade bath dumped on him. Actually, we don't want to fool some of our fans. Scott Lusby's appearance in that Sports Illustrated spread, he's probably about as big as a small ant in there, but you could definitely tell it's his.
But it's
his figurine. Jamar Taylor, after the injured Lake Gibson Brave, is taken off the field.
The #1 team in the nation, Eric. That has to be a feat in itself. I mean, you know, you're not only the #1 team in the state, in the nation. That means when people hear your program's name, they think, wow, the #1.
Donnell Moore is hurt. They've lost the young man Powell on a concussion who took the kickoff return back. Chris DeVault not on the field right now for Lake Gibson. On a first down, whistle comes out to stop the play.
I don't know, it's on that. We got dead ball foul, illegal procedure against Orange.
Lake Gibson starting to to get some of those penalties against Lakeland. For the Dreadnaughts, mighty big accomplishments there. You saw the young ladies t-shirt earlier about 4. It was talking about the 4 state championships. Of course, Lakeland trying to get back there. This time they would travel to Miami. LT trying to win that state championship, and they would be playing the game if they can make it to the 5A championship at Dolphin Stadium. They could be doing it against St. Thomas Aquinas, a team they ransacked last year. Rainey gets up across the 25 to the 26-yard line. A minimal gain for Rainey, only a couple of yards.
We're used to Chris Rainey breaking them. 2 yards to him that's a step.
Now the LG still with the tomahawk chop. They still have faith. 2nd down and long coming up for the Dreadnaughts. Lowe will just put it in the belly of Taylor, and Taylor gets ridden down to the ground. James Jones, no! The ball was kept. A beautiful looking fake on everybody as Lowe, including myself. Lowe had it all the way over at the 40-yard line.
Nice design play there.
A 29-yarder for Lowe, and the biggest carry for him tonight.
Eric, I was fooled too. I was looking over here at Jamar Taylor. You see it go over here to the right, and great play fake. Even our cameraman was fooled there. Jamar Taylor says, hey, man, I don't have it, dog. I don't have it.
That's got to be a great feeling when you turn the defender and say, that was a great tackle, only one problem.
I don't have the
football. I don't have the ball.
But, you know, I got to apologize to Billy. I mean, I said before, hey, let him take the football, but hey, he looked just as good as the running back there.
James Jones will be watching this game. He'll say, yeah, great call to me as well. Lason has it. He's again in open space, and he's inside the 20 down at the 15-yard line.
The problem is for Lake Gibson right now is that they're confused. I mean, you fake the ball to one guy, you fake it to Chris Rainey. Everybody has to respect that, Eric. I mean, you got to respect that. Watch it here. They're going to fake it to Jamar Taylor. Now the option, they also have the threat of running the option. I mean, they're going to drop people in the secondary because they're trying to make sure that Chris Rainey and Jamar Taylor don't get those yards.
Lakeland only had a mere 30-plus yards in the first half pass, and they almost equaled that here with a 29-yard reception. Lason is filling in nicely for Jordan Hammond. Lowe keeps it again. Lowe's going to get into the end zone. Touchdown, Lakeland. Fool me once, you can't fool me twice. And Lakeland starting to pull away.
I guess Billy Lowe is showing me what do I know.
A 16-yard touchdown run at the midway point of this third quarter. And Lakeland is turning it into a romp. It's 35-10.
I guess Billy Lowe is saying to me, LT who? What does LT mean? Well, I guess in this area it means Lakeland titles, because if he continues to run the football like this year, I mean, it can't be stopped. I mean, you got an added weapon. You let the quarterback run the football. I mean, he's the least of your worries, but he picks up yards also. Look at the dive at the end, the determination to get in the end zone.
35-10.
That dive was kind of ugly, though.
Took about 3 minutes for them to score, 1 minute and 15 seconds on their first possession to start the second half. And almost twice that here. An 82-yard drive engineered by the quarterback. 2 nifty runs that he had equaling about 45 yards. Almost half that production on that drive.
Let me guess, Eric. They're going to kick it. Huge kick in the air.
Yes, and Micah Williams will have the fair catch.
Another fair catch.
Micah should not have the fair catch here and just bust out the whooping stick and take off running.
There it is.
Well, I don't think he's going to get this one. Oh, it's a Lakeland football. Oh, they're going to call illegal touching, or they're going to call interfering, catching it in the air. Is that what the flag is for?
If he tried to call fair catch, which I don't know if he did. I mean, I think he was a little confused himself.
Deontay Parker, who plays corner, came up with it. Now, this is like the old call that the Buccaneers were hoping they could get a couple years ago against the Indianapolis Colts, that onside kick attempt when the Colts came back on Monday Night Football, interfering with the catch of the ball.
Hey, pipe down, Lakeland fans, pipe down. 35-10, pipe down. You see it right here. I don't know if he tried to call fair catch or not.
Well, say what you want about the call, and Deontay Parker probably did what any of us would have done. Go up for the football.
And Lake Gibson did what I probably would have done too, got out of the way.
At the 40-yard line, just across the 40, Lake Gibson starts out on their second drive here in the second half. Had the interception for a long, basically a punt, and now that defense with Nick Moody, they're just pinning their ears back and just running over the offensive line for Lake Gibson. That's a loss of 2 on the play. Man. So this is a guy in Harris who last week had almost 300 yards.
Man, he's going backwards right now. But you know, Haines City, they're not the #1 team in the nation. This is the #1 team in the nation. I mean, there's so many orange jerseys out there right now. It looks like they have at least 30 people out there on the field. I mean, they're everywhere.
Harris has carried it only 2 times in this half, -6 yards. Martin's going to try to get out of the pocket. Pass is just too hard thrown to Rashawn Barnes. Barnes would have been close to the sticks, trying to get a first down at around midfield.
Well, you know what they have back there right now, Lake Gibson is an athlete. I mean, this kid is not the starting quarterback. He's more of a running back, and you know, due to injuries to their starting quarterback, you know, who took a pound.
Yeah,
I mean,
we saw that replay at halftime, but Tremblay, who was hit so hard from behind, you could see his helmet bounce up off of the grass, and you know that his noggin inside there got knocked around a little bit, and I kind of made a joke that he's probably hearing the Canaries singing right now, but he has not come back in this ball game. He was the holder on the field goal attempt, but I just don't think if he can take another hit, at least on this night. They have to have a quarterback in there that can move around in the pocket.
Yeah, he definitely needs, as you see right here, I mean, he gets just, watch his head.
Watch the helmet.
Oh, man, he's out for a second. He's holding his head. I mean, that's just that's a hit.
Yeah, you don't have to play football to know if you've hit your head like that a couple times, falling on the ground, any type of activity, that it'll definitely cause you a moment where you might temporarily have your eyes open, but you don't see anything.
Like being a boxer. Speaking of boxing, my good friend Antonio Tarver goes up against Roy Jones Jr., the trilogy.
A conclusion at the St. Pete Times Forum. Wild fans are probably watching this game. The run and reverse to DeVault. DeVault with a couple of key blocks may have the first down, but he gets stopped just as he gets close to the sticks. He's about 3 yards shy as Wilkes was out there making the tackle along with Andrew Walker. They were able to avoid a couple of blocks. And DeVault, I like the play call.
Similar to the play that Lakeland ran earlier in the game with Billy Lowe pitching it to Chris Rainey going back the opposite way. But the thing is, there are just too many orange jerseys out there. I mean, they're getting off blocks. They're punishing people as they make the runs.
An Orange Crush defense has flexed its muscle tonight. Last week they held Dr. Krupp out of Miami for -16 yards rushing. They're closing in on that figure if DeVault wouldn't have taken it around the right side for positive yards. Lakeland looking for a delay of game, and there it is. Personnel problems for Lake Gibson, special teams wise, as Donnell Moore, the punter, was waiting for the snap. It just didn't look like the front 7 or 8 could get set.
And he's done a good job of punting the football tonight. I mean, the punter goes out on the first punt. I mean, he does a great job of getting the football off, but I think at the same time he might have pulled something. He steps in, and he's had some pretty good punts tonight.
Lakeland has not allowed more than 13 points in a ball game.
And there's no one deep, Eric.
And they might feel they're actually in regular defensive formation. They might feel that it's going to be some type of a fake, but Moore gets off a heck of a good punt, and it will take a Lakeland bounce of about a yard and be down right at the 26-yard line. So Lakeland has the football back as Billy Lowe is ready to add to his numbers with 4:37 left in the third quarter. It's all Lakeland 35-10 over Lake Gibson. As I was saying, nobody has scored more than 13 points off the Dreadnaughts defense, except for Winter Haven. They scored 13. Zach Charles, one of our super seniors, had an outstanding catch for a long touchdown pass in that game for the Blue Devils.
Tell you what, I haven't seen Paul Wilson since that opening drop. Maybe that ankle might have been bothering him.
Rainey gets caught this time near the line of scrimmage. Might have lost a half yard by Claude Davis.
Claude Davis played pretty good ball games tonight. Made a couple plays here and there. And he's a pretty big player. I mean, pretty big. Oh, he gives Chris a little foundation on the head there.
Well, the one thing you can look at for Lake Gibson is the youth on this team. I said only 3 seniors start offensively and 4 on the defense, most of them the linebackers. So that's where Lake Gibson will have to improve for next season. There's still a whole half a season left here for Lake Gibson. They may not win the district, but they'll be fighting for that second spot. Layson with another completion. And he's had a pretty good night, considering he's a wide receiver playing in that tight end role, except this time lining out wide.
Or just watch the little shake and bake there, picks up a couple extra yards. The thing I like about what he did there, as he was throwing that little shake and bake, the little nifty move there, he was going forward instead of going backwards.
Here's your man. You called him the Magic Man in our first preseason game.
Saving him.
They need his services. And that'll be an extra 5 yards for Lakeland as Lake Gibson jumps off sides. And that's just a sophomore mistake. And Coach DeMeyer needed his front 4 to come up big tonight.
Got a lot to cheer about tonight.
Be a first down for Lakeland at the 38-yard line. Rainey again goes in motion. Taylor will get it. He'll try to bounce the outside, and he is hit high and hit low. Johnny Williams got him, and so did Ingraham. Strong safety. And the middle linebacker.
Lake Gibson's kids are still playing hard. They're trying to, hey, you can't win them all. You come out here, you put on a good showing. But, the good thing about it is that now in high school football, you have an opportunity to still go to the playoffs. I mean, if you're the runner-up, you still can go to the playoffs.
And especially when you saw those standings we showed you earlier, the 2 teams that the other 2 teams besides the 2 teams you're watching tonight are 0-5 on the season. They haven't won a game yet. Of course, they got to play each other. Look at Minnie Bowe picking up those yards, exciting his coaching staff. You can hear the pads popping up here as he picks up a first down at midfield.
Well, I tell you what, I heard the pads popping, but I tell you what, the Lake Gibson defenders were popping off of his pass because watch him, he punishes them right there. Punish, punish, punish. Picking up yards left and right. Love it.
This guy, we've watched a few games with him, Jamar Taylor, punish the defense when he's running with the football, and I've seen him play baseball a couple of times, and he will punish the baseball as well. Has very quick hands and a mean swing. Rainey gets it. Got it about 6 yards deep. Gets inside Brave territory. And uh-oh, he's hurt a little bit. A couple of Dreadnaughts are hurt, but both of them get up at the same time. And Rainey, he might have a cramp. At least that's what many Dreadnaught fans are hoping, that it's a cramp. But he's grabbing around the knee area. That looks like a cramp. I know you're watching the replay at home, but right now they're working on Rainey. That looks more like a cramp.
Yeah, that's one of those Charlie horses. That hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I've had a few of those myself. And when you don't hydrate properly, your muscles will let you know.
You know, it's amazing. These kids, I mean, they're kids. I mean, they're supposed to be drinking Gatorade and, you know, water all the time. They're not adults. Drink up, kids. Drink up.
I guess sometimes you don't realize that with all those pads on, and it's still pretty hot down the field. Obviously, a lot more heat down there on the field than there is up here in the booth with the nice breeze and everything. You're losing a lot more sweat and electrolytes than you believe. One of our cameramen felt that same heat the last time we were here in preseason at the end of the game.
Everybody's catching cramp. The Greer's down over there. They're all stretched out.
See, this is toward the end of the game when you know the game's in hand, when everybody starts saying, no, Coach, I got a cramp. We'll take a timeout and we'll refuel ourselves. 1:17 left in the third quarter. It's all Lakeland by 25. Welcome back to high school football here on Catch 47. Rainey is off the field with his 18 carries, 187 yards, and 3 touchdowns. It does look like it's nothing too serious, just a cramp problem for him. Even some of his teammates kind of laughing at him. Lowe keeps it himself, gets across the 40. And he should have enough for the first down after that 2nd and 5 run.
You know, I got to give props to James Pouncey. I mean, he's been number 66. He's been running around, knocking people on their derrieres all night long. This kid is playing. He's playing with excitement. He's playing with enthusiasm. I mean, you don't really see offensive linemen doing that. Most of them are kind of big and slow, and they kind of just slop around. But he's running around, hitting people downfield, 10 yards downfield. You got to give props to this kid tonight.
James and his twin brother, LaShawn, over there manning that left side.
He's having fun. I mean, I keep watching him on every play. I mean, he's downfield, jawing with the defensive backs. I mean, for him to run 10 to 12 yards down the field, that means he's really doing his thing.
Just in case you high school football fans were wondering more about the condition on the other side of the field, we've been given the report for the quarterback, John Tremblay. He could return to the ball game, but they're going to hold him out just as a precaution. And normally when we get a big hit like that, he might end up, I'm speculating here, getting checked out by a doctor by the end of the night or sometime tomorrow, just to make sure. Concussions are something in football. They're nasty.
You don't want to mess with them.
Yeah, you don't want to take a chance. Taylor gets the call here, trying to add to Lakeland's big night on the ground, trying to add to that 308-yard total, which now will be pushed up to 313 after 5 more yards by number 25.
This is just a grind-out session here. I mean, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see a little bit of Billy Lowe. You're going to see a lot of Jamar Taylor. They're not trying to put it in the air. I mean, they're going to run it.
And you're going to see some Preston Chapman, junior running back who's checked in for Chris Rainey. Lowe to put it in the air. Going for Chapman, just misses. Chapman, the slot receiver out there on that play. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 6. Lakeland, even though they have that 25-point lead, They're not going to shy away from running their offense. 2.6 seconds left in the third quarter before we head to the final 12 minutes.
Eric, what they tried to do there, and I'm going to say it in young person terms, they tried to catch him slipping.
Slipping or sleeping?
So you got to watch some of that MTV. That's what I watch.
I'm a VH1 guy. Low to put it in the air again. Has Greer. Greer gets taken down right at the 30-yard line. Looks like he's going to be a little bit shy of the first down. So a challenge to the chain crew. The chain gang has to pick up and move the football to the other side of the field. I believe Lakeland is doing all they can and much more tonight, protecting the home field advantage here at Bryant Stadium, the home of Bill Castle Field. It's the Catch 47 game of the week. 12 minutes to play in this contest. Lake Gibson 10. It's been all #1 team in the nation. Lakeland with 35. Football game of the week. Guess who's back in the game? Closing in on 200 yards. It's number 3, the Rain Man. And on a 4th down and short, looks like Lakeland and Billy Lowe may have picked up the first down. Wild 98.7 fan of the game. His name is Tony Williams, but you can call him T.O.
Is that like
Cheesehead?
Yeah?
It's Lakeland cheese.
Lakeland cheese, huh?
And look at the prize pack. When you are the fan of the game, I wonder if he came with those shades or...
Well, when you dress up like
Wild
that,
90.7
you deserve something.
I like the shades. Oh, get down, T.O. Rainey, left side, steps inside, gets taken down hard by McAlpin. McAlpin with a nice little takedown. Had some help defensively spreading out that play, so Rainey will pick up no gain.
Eric, that's a tired Chris Rainey. That's not a fresh Chris Rainey. I mean, he's tired. You know, your muscles, you catch a Charlie horse like that, they're going to be aching. Tomorrow, he'll feel it. He's going to go out.
He's limping a little bit right now.
I mean, it hurts. Your muscles, I mean, to tighten up like that, I mean, it takes a toll on your muscles. Tomorrow morning, he's going to definitely feel it.
Jensen Harris is the near side receiver. Rainey in the slot with him. Lowe will keep it, pitch it back to Rainey. Rainey lost the football, and Lake Gibson will have it. McAlpin is just horse-collared by the quarterback. That's a former wrestler with a wrestling-type move.
Yeah, there's no reason why Chris Rainey should be out there right now, unless they're trying to get 200 yards for the kid. I mean, he's cramping up. I mean, he can barely move. And when you're cramping up and stuff like that, you're thinking about your cramps. You're not even thinking about the football. You see right here, he's cramping up. He'll get up in a second and cramp up. Good tackle. Might have to put him in. Might have to put him in on a little defense. If anyone goes down on the defense, we know Billy Lowe can tackle.
So the LG has it. Although they haven't done much with it here in the second half or the entire ball game.
Get out!
Pitch back to Isaac Harris, and Harris is going backwards. He turns that corner and just fortunate enough to pick up something and prevent a huge loss. And now a flag off your television.
Spot, Dave, we got.
See it. It was way in the secondary.
It might get 15 yards here.
Deontay Parker involved in a tussle, so to say, with a Lake Gibson Brave.
That was a little WWE tussle. You might not be able to see it, but it's downfield. Good little nifty move there. That would be a good little down low pivot move if you were playing basketball. But they were back there tussling and wrestling and body slamming.
It was out of your viewing area. We saw it, but you couldn't see it.
Kind of WWE-ish. Unsportsmanlike.
That's usually what happens. Obviously, we saw the counter action by the Lakeland Dreadnaughts and Parker. He was obviously provoked, and that's what the officials saw, and good call for them. 10:37 left in the contest. Lakeland Dreadnaughts built a 21-10 lead at halftime. They've scored a couple touchdowns in the third quarter to build on it. Second down and 14. And this play will be whistled dead before it gets going. So Martin and Tremblay have basically split quarterback duties over the course of the season. And now a foul start is going to move them back. I was informed at halftime that the young lady that you just saw throwing the pom-poms up in the air, she was Florida's Majorette of the Year.
Congratulations. They got the #1 team in the nation, #1 team in the state, Florida's #1 Majorette of the Year.
I believe that's what the fans up here,
and we can be considered the #1
title that they relayed to me in just a passing conversation.
I think we're considered the #1 team in the state, high school football.
Catch 47, that's right. Well, you talk about high school football, and pretty soon Lakeland will be making a national debut. I feel sorry for the Kissimmee Cowboys.
Oh, my goodness.
That game will be the final district game of the year. I'm not sure if Fox Sports did not call the professor and ask which game to broadcast, but I probably would have told him that game because we want to do the Lake Gibson game, but this is turning out as well. There she's again with the baton.
I hear you,
the show that she was putting on at halftime,
yeah.
She might be getting the MVP of the game, although it's going to be pretty easy to pick the MVP tonight. At least it should be. Third down and long. Martin is hit from behind, and they'll call it an incomplete pass. Lakeland, some of their coaches look like they could win the high jump in the Olympics. I haven't seen a bunch of coaches jump so high. Either it was the impending hit by number 26 again, or they thought it was a fumbled football.
Troy Johnson on the hit. You know, I don't know if he can play linebacker on the next level, but I tell you what, he'll give it his best shot. I think he'll probably be an excellent, strong safety on the next level in college football. This kid loves to hit.
Chris Rainey standing inside the 40-yard line. He's back out on the field again, ready to return this punt. And on his last fumble, the guy that he fumbled to is ready to punt it away, and Donnell Moore. And looks like Lake Gibson took too much time again. Actually, they have a substitution penalty. This will be their 7th penalty for 45 yards on the night.
I mean, I don't understand it, Eric. You know, you're the #1 team in the nation. You got a long season to go. You know, the game is definitely out of reach. When your #1 player, you put him back there. I don't understand. I mean, Coach Castle knows better than me. He's been doing it a long time. He's good. He's good. He's a great coach.
800 plus winning percentage.
800 plus. So who am I? LT doesn't stand for Lamar Thomas. It stands for lots of titles here in Lakeland.
That takes a Lakeland bounce on the punt. It's only going to travel about 19 yards after it's down inside the 40 at the 39-yard line. So the Lake Gibson Braves, a long 48 minutes tonight. They won't have a long trip back, just a few miles back to their old stomping grounds to the reservation.
And you know what's amazing? Talking to Coach Castle, man, before the game. I mean, he's one of those coaches there. You ask him a question, he's going to give you a roundabout answer.
And one of the things that he and I talked about during the course of the week, and we mentioned at the top of the telecast, was the injuries. I remember last year in covering them the first preseason game and then the end of the season game against Kathleen. I said, Coach, starting lineup still the same? And he says, it is. And then he kind of smirked. He says, it's amazing, isn't it? We've really been lucky with injuries. He said, but not this year. Taylor dragging Lake Gibson Braves. He's still moving, albeit sideways and not picking up any yards. He's still dragging a couple of tacklers.
I like the fact Coach Castle, man, he'll give you an answer and then kind of give you one of those. I almost thought they were 1-2 coming into this game, the way he was talking. Here it is, Jamar Taylor, guy we featured in the opening. I mean, that's what I talked about, the strength of this kid. You know, he's not a Chris Rainey, he's not a slasher, but he can get you those grind them out yards. I think he will be good in a one-back offense, like a USF type what's the kid, Hall from USF, Andre Hall?
Andre Hall. Or like the former Otis Dixon. You know, big back like that, pounded. Now the coach at Lakewood.
See, Chris Rainey, I don't think Chris Rainey would be good in a type of situation like that. I think he'd be more better in a situation where he has that fullback in front of him where he can run some sweeps and everything downhill with a lead blocker, because he cuts off that lead blocker better than anybody I've seen in high school football.
3rd down and short coming up.
One thing is
Lakeland Dreadnaughts.
One thing is for certain, Eric, we will see a lot of these kids from Lakeland on Saturdays playing somewhere. Fine program over here.
Dreadnaughts operating a 3rd down and short. So we go to Chapman. Chapman has the 1st down, and he's at the 25-yard line. Move the chains at the 7:20 mark of the 4th quarter. The Lakeland Dreadnaughts, we've been talking about their #1 ranking in the USA Today. They're the #1 team in our B. Brady's high school scoreboard poll. They're also obviously the team beat Class 5A, and you can see that #2 team is St. Thomas Aquinas, the team they beat last year in the playoffs to win the state championship. And if you start inching down the bottom,
is that Gainesville High?
Gainesville down there at number 10. Mainland, who won the state championship a couple of years ago out of Daytona Beach, and the Countryside Cougars, according to the Florida Sports Writers Association, checking in at number 7. Oh, a bad exchange in the backfield between Lowe and Jamar Taylor. It'll be a loss of about a half a yard on the play.
And we saw Countryside earlier. They just dismantled St. Petersburg High.
Their defense is
their
getting better.
defense, yeah, their defense is getting better.
They had a quarterback in L.D. Crow that, for juniors, really knowledgeable in the game, and it's just added bonus having Coach Davis as his man running the show. And they had a number of backs as well that can run the football. Countryside will be a player in the playoffs. Lowe's going to put it in the air. Here's a southpaw. Gets hit as he releases it. Greer's out there, and it should have been intercepted. I believe that's DeVault out there. It was kind of alligator armed it around the 5-yard line. It is Cristobal.
Drops back, feels a little pressure, moves up in the pocket, throws off his back foot.
Well, they may be losing the game by 25 points, but you can hear that Warpath theme song by Lake Gibson. They're going to show you the school spirit until the final tick of the clock. Third down and long again for Lowe. He'll pitch it out to Taylor. Taylor trying to pick up a block from Greer. He gets just across the 25, down to about the 23-yard line. He'll bring up a 4th down and long for Lakeland and see if they don't try a long field goal.
That defense has been on the field a long time tonight. A long time. Those kids tonight, look at them. Tired, bitten down.
It's Cameron McAlpin, who's had an outstanding 3-year career, had to overcome that ACL injury. You see his knee brace there on the left knee. It's probably left him not playing at 100% the last couple of seasons for his high school career. Next week, the high school football game of the week travels to Pasco County. It'll be about 25-30 miles north of our new studios in Pinellas Park. Pinellas County as the Mitchell Mustangs make their debut on the game of the week. The Hudson Cobras returned from last year. Last year they were the visitors. This year they'll get to host a game of the week as we move into October footballs. Tonight basically represents the midway point of the season, as some teams reach the 5-game mark, and most teams, like Coach Castle's program, goes over the hump. For Lakeland next week, they'll be home against Centennial, while Lake Gibson will also be at home against Auburndale. Auburndale, somewhat of a minor disappointment this year in their record. I think they've had a couple of injuries as well, some major injuries, and not allowed them to play up to their potential. And a hard count by Lowe, and that draws Lake Gibson offsides, and instead of a 4th down and 7 coming up, and they were going for it, it's going to make it a 4th down and 2 for Lakeland.
Yeah, it's getting close to that time, man. 5:37 on the clock. Mine's not working as hot. You're getting beat down. Starting to make silly little mistakes like that. Yeah, that guy's up there having a good. Go ahead, boy. Do your thing.
Our director says that reminds us of our audio engineer when he was in high school, the way that young man was dancing. It's kind of great when you don't realize you're on camera. And you are. When you watch the game, you're like, what was I doing? Chapman trying to pick up the first down. Looked like he hit the hole and kind of stopped for a moment, trying to make one of those rainy type moves. But it's a first down for Lakeland.
He gets the first down. Once he gets the first down, there he is. Make a little spin. They're trying to strip it right now. I mean, Chapman, so he doesn't even have a name. He's known as Chris Rainey's backup.
So the Lakeland fans get excited with another first down. Just outside the 10 at the 12-yard line. It's been a long night for Coach DeMeyer and his staff. As I said, they'll regroup, try to do better next week against the Auburndale Bloodhounds. Chapman gets another call. Trying to get to the outside. And it'll be thrown out of bounds. Might have picked up a yard. Depends on where they will stop or where they will spot the ball. He picked up 1 yard.
It's a lot of running for 1 yard there. Good stiff arm.
Back's got to do what a back's got to do.
Another stiff arm.
Stiff arm. Are you eating?
Yeah, I was chopping on a little cookie there. It was good too, boy. I mean, it's late in the game. 4:24. The game is kind of out of hand right now. You might as well chomp on a little cookie here and there. And
I had to move him down to the other end at halftime. I said, I can't stare at these cookies anymore.
Speaking of the game of the week, next week, hey, we're coming to town. Hey, make some Booster Club, have some cookies, milk, whatever, hamburgers, pizza.
Taylor, touchdown, Lakeland. An 11-yard touchdown run for number 25. That's the 5th rushing touchdown tonight for Lakeland.
Some of the Lakeland coaches walking by. They're going downstairs. They eating cookies.
I believe they grabbed the plate that I put down at the edge.
Look at him. He's putting the cookie back. They've been in there snacking the whole time.
42-10. Coach DeMeyer said he wanted to keep it close. 4 quarters, make it an interesting ball game. Keep it something that the fans would enjoy. His team would have a chance to win this game possibly, but they just haven't been able to do anything offensively. And you know what? Neither has 5 other teams coming into this ball game against the Orange Crush defense.
I'm impressed with Lakeland's offensive line. They block well all night long. I mean,
and they're all juniors.
Don't get me wrong. Oh, look at the little hug right there.
It's all about love here on the high school football game of the week. Only had to go 39 yards, but they chewed up almost 5 minutes. Almost like Taylor chewing on that mouthpiece.
And like me chewing on those cookies.
You were chewing on the cookies. I was chewing on them off air. I'm just playing with you.
The little knots.
Now they'll be there one day wearing the uniforms of the dancers behind them and on the field wearing the orange and black. I tell you what, here at Lakeland, it's almost like a small college program. I know we've said that before, but their entrance is dramatic, and their entrance when the game is over is dramatic as well. During the game, they're dramatic. Well, I'm not sure if he called a fair catch or not, or at least his teammates thought he did. I mean, they've been making a fair catch on everyone. John Williams that time instead of Michael Williams. Micah is probably a little bit relieved that they didn't kick the ball to him. And John Williams, I didn't see him motion fair
John
catch.
better be glad that they come through that whistle.
Nobody was blocking for him.
Nobody was. Actually, they were walking off the field.
He must not be either
well liked.
He's either not well liked, or he did call the fair catch, and his teammates.
I thought he was going to do one of those Terrell Buckley plays, catch the punt and just stand there and act like he was walking off and then take off, but they blew the whistle.
4:16 left in the ball game. And now with some substitutions by Lakeland. On the outside, a little bit too excited to get into the backfield. Stay with us. Post-game coming up here.
Who was that? Let's say his
Coach
name.
Castle.
Let's say his name, Eric. I mean, that's what he did it for. He was number 60. That was Nick Herbert. Okay, Mom and Dad, you heard your name, your son's name, Nick Herbert, jumping off sides right there. Got his name called out on the high school game of the week on Cat 47.
Swinging out in the first pass completed tonight. As Barnes has it. And that is the first completion of 9 passes for Lake Gibson. And yes, Braves fans, we know it would be a different game if number 8 from last year would have been back there in the huddle, but he's been a red-shirted freshman this year for USF. Talking about the 4A Player of the Year from 2004, Matt Grothy.
Speaking of USF, they have a huge game tomorrow.
Well, Tremblay is back in.
Huge game tomorrow at University of Miami.
Tremblay throws it out, and it should have been caught, but it is dropped, possibly in a hand in there was Jesse Smart. Actually, they call it a fumble. That is one heck of a call out there on the sidelines.
I don't know about that one, but hey, you know, it's late in the game. This ball took a long time to get out there. I don't know. I don't know if that was a catch, Eric, but you know, game's out of reach, 42-10. You know, took a long time to get out there. New quarterback for Lakeland.
Yeah, that's a bad call. That should have been an incomplete pass.
Larry Castle, I would believe that's the coach's son, huh?
Tremblay doesn't get a break there. Well, actually, he gets a completed pass and fumble. As Lakeland hands the ball off to Chapman.
That's Chris Rainey's backup.
Chris Rainey's backup. That's why he wears 2-3 instead of, can't wear 13 because that's Lowe's number. He's the second number 3. Picks up a good 8 yards.
He has the nickname of CRB.
Chris Rainey's backup. You said we weren't going to have any new nicknames tonight.
I know, and I couldn't help it, man. We always give the nicknames out. Can't give Rain Man his nickname. He's already established.
Alternating quarterbacks now for Lakeland as Tyler Grantham checked in as well.
Look at CRB. Let's watch CRB run that thing.
Darius Doby checking in.
What if that nickname sticks with that kid? People start calling, hey, CRB, what's up, dog?
And he might have not watched the broadcast, and he'll be asking, what's CRB? I said, man, Chris Rainey's backup. And he probably said, oh, it's on. Really low. Good night for him, running the football, throwing the football.
Good night.
They go up the middle with JTB. Jamar Taylor's back up. That being number 30, Calvin Shaw. That's right, Catch 47 game of the week.
Hey, we might be on Catch 47 game of the week. Couple years.
Little orange brush. Second down and long. Big hit by the Lake Gibson defense. after a gain of about 3 inside the 30 down to the 29-yard line.
Darrell Harrison, Chris Rainey's backup number 2, CBR 2. They're shuffling in everybody, offensive linemen.
Everybody gets to play tonight.
That's good, that's good. That's what it's all about. That's what high school, Pee Wee League, it's all about everybody getting an opportunity to get on the field. I mean, this is a lifelong thing. I mean, these kids will be able to remember we played against the #1 team in the nation, or we played on the #1 team in the nation.
Especially when you're a senior and you don't get to play that much. And you don't have to wait for senior night to do it. Get in and play against your rival. Because you work so hard during practice during the course of the week, either running scout team plays or get knocked around by the first team.
Yeah. They're bringing in a new quarterback here.
Yeah, back and forth they've been going with Grantham and also Blair Castle. 4th down and 5. Lakeland will go for it. Less than a minute to play in the ball game. Last year they only attempted a couple field goals, one of them in the state championship game. They've only attempted a couple of field goals coming into
CRB up the middle, baby.
Into this season. He's going to be into this game rather. He's going to be shy of the first down as he gets tackled at around the 25. So Lake Gibson and their offense will take over after that turnover was called. And 37 seconds left in the ball game. Most of the fans have been clearing out. Stay with us. Post game coming up with our MVP and Coach Castle talking about this contest and how the rushing game just really ate up and left the defense on the field for quite a while. The #1 team in the nation, that's right. You can flaunt it now. As I'm sure they would say, this was their toughest test of the season thus far. And they were able to pass with flying colors, and the predominant color being orange crush on defense. Tremblay will hand it off to his up man. And that's the fullback Jarvis Patterson. That may do it. And a couple of Lake Gibson Braves taking off their helmets either to just readjust the hairstyle or call it a night. They may get one more play. It looks like they are going to run one more. 21-10 at the break. 21 unanswered points in the second half by Lakeland to win this game. One more call for Patterson. He's caught in the backfield. This is going to end the contest. The #1 team in the nation improves to 6-0 on the season. The Lakeland Dreadnaughts 42, Lake Gibson 10. They dropped to 2-3. Stay with us. Post game coming up.
The Lakeland Dreadnaughts improved their record to 6-0 on the season with a 32-point win over the Lake Gibson Braves. Eric Keaton, Lamar Thomas, James Pouncey from the offensive line, and the winning head coach, Coach Castle. And Coach, first of all, talk about this defensive effort, how you guys have been able to sustain that type of effort week after week.
Well, we got a great group of guys over there. They just got great team unity, and like you say, week after week they come to play, and they run to the ball, and you know, they just pursue hard, and they're good tacklers.
And a bunch of juniors up front, and James Pouncey becoming the first offensive lineman, basically representing the offensive lineman to win the MVP award for the Catch 47 game of the week. Not bad for a bunch of juniors up there when you guys rush for more than 370 yards.
I think it's well deserved. Our offensive line, I tell you, I was really proud of them the way they stepped up today, and you know, we had two. A right guard and a right tackle were playing with sprained ankles, kind of hobbling around in there, and showed a lot of heart. And our whole team just showed a lot of team unity.
Now, I have to ask you a question. I mean, you were downfield a lot tonight, blocking people. I mean, is there such a thing called a pancake? If not, if so, you definitely were at IHOP all day tonight.
Yes, sir. I mean, we as a team, we did a great job. We practiced hard and practice. I mean, all this trophy right here is going to go out to the offensive line. I mean, everybody deserves one. I mean, we played a heck of a game. I love it. I love it.
And, Coach, again, talking about that defense, some numbers to throw at you. You held Isaac Harris and the rest of that rushing attack to 1.6 yards a carry. How much did that play into a part in stopping him? And also field position tonight really played a part as well, especially during a certain points of the first half when you guys basically stayed on their half of the field.
We felt like we had to stop their zone play, and of course we thought if we could control Harris, and that was the key for our defense, and they just did a tremendous job of shutting down their zone play that's been so huge for them that they've had great success with.
And I'm going to ask one more question to the big guy. I mean, it's the first time we've had an offensive lineman. I feel kind of dwarfed. I got to ask you this. How easy is it to have two great backs back there, Chris Rainey and Jamar Taylor?
It's the easiest job in America. I mean, we got the two fastest backs in Polk County. I mean, we really just stay on our blocks, play hard, and it's a definite win.
Well, James, congratulations on winning the mini helmet. Coach Castle, I believe a lot of other coaches may say you have the easiest job right now, but it's pretty tough when you have the #1 team in the nation. Good luck next week against Centennial.
Thank you.
There you have it, the Lakeland Dreadnaughts 6-0 on the season. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll recap the second half. They made it look easy, 42-10 over their crosstown rivals, and now a leg up in the district in the 5A8. They're 1-0. Stay with us.
Monday through
Here at Bryant Stadium, the home of Bill Castle Field. Must be pretty good when you got the #1 team in the nation and you got your own field named after you as well. Eric Keaton alongside, exactly, alongside Lamar Thomas. Let's take a look at the second half. It was 21-10 at the break. Lake Gibson only down by 11, but in the second half, it only took him a minute 15 seconds to give Chris Rainey the ball, and he scored his third touchdown of the season.
What a move. I mean, the kid can do it all. Easy touchdown.
That was actually the third touchdown of this game. He came in with 3 touchdowns on the season, basically had his season in this game. 20 carries, 189 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the night. Billy Lowe had a pretty good night as well, 6 rushes, 60 yards in this score.
And the ugly dive at the end, but the result on TV.
The belly flop, if the other player wouldn't have been there, it would have been a belly flop. But, you know, everybody was getting in on the rushing attack, and wait till you see the final numbers. But first, Jamar Taylor getting into the end zone, and with some fans, give me the love.
Give him a little love. I mean, this kid he's their workhorse. I mean, it was Chris Rainey's night, but Jamar Taylor's the guy for definitely Lakeland.
Taylor scored a touchdown, had 90 yards and 16 carries. These numbers are correct. Mind-boggling. Last week, the defense held the opposition from Dr. Crop down in Miami to minus 16 yards rushing against Isaac Harris and a potent attack from Lake Gibson. You know what they can do on the ground. 33 yards, 48 total to 446. As our director said, somewhere along the line, time of possession, field position, and total yards played a factor in this game.
Total domination. And, you know, you got to say LG, they played a great game, but you're going against the #1 team in the nation, and they showed tonight that they're definitely that ranked.
And it was an opportunity, but Lake Gibson didn't take advantage of that opportunity. Next week, will the Mitchell Mustangs and the Hudson Cobras, who will take advantage of the opportunity for being on the Catch 47 game of the week as we move from Polk County to Pasco County. A mind-numbing experience here tonight watching the Lakeland Dreadnaughts do their work on their home field. 42-10 is the final. The #1 team in the nation lives up to its billing, and Chris Rainey, beware opposing teams. He's back. 3 touchdowns tonight and almost 200 yards. From our broadcast partner, Lamar Thomas, my name's Eric Keaton. We'll see you next week on a Friday Night Light edition of the Catch 47 Game of the Week. Peace.